Welcome back, everyone. We are here with the UKEL. Thank you so much for tuning in with us, especially through all those technical delays. Because of that, we are running a little bit late, but we do appreciate it because we are in the lower bracket finals between Lionscreed Academy and Venomcrest. Of course, many of us here have seen this matchup before. Last time as well, there were some hiccups, so the script is all written out in front. So that's why you don't even need to know the players. You'll see them on the riff later. Right now, though, we want to get predictions because this is a rematch 2-0 earlier to Venomcrest. Now, Venomcrest having fallen to Paragon in the upper bracket finals. We're not going to take a look at this lower side. So before we even do anything, I want to get predictions, starting with you, Zika. Who do you think is going to win, and what do you think the series score is going to be?
2-1 Venomcrest.
Okay. I like it. A little bit of improvement. Rev, what are you thinking?
Well, you see, Dalax is not here, okay? So he cannot actually upset anyone. And he cannot give any more plot armor to Lionscreed. I think it's going to be a 2-0 for Lionscreed. Although they have been upsetting and winning, they are still looking a little bit rough.
And I think that's fair. Considering we have a little bit of time, I do want to dive into that a little bit more. Yeah, above my head, as you can tell, we are all for Venomcrest, but still, it is that 2-1 factor. I'm looking at Lionscreed to try and do something, and Zika, I think that's going to come a little bit in that jungle mid synergy. There were some growing pains for Lionscreed that we all said, hey, earlier in the season, especially earlier in playoffs, that we just were not seeing, and yet it does feel like they're improving. Maybe not to the level of Venomcrest just yet.
They are on the up and up. That's why I do think they'll take a game. I don't think they'll necessarily take a series. I think if they take a game, it will be off the back of Bust and Porp working as a good duo. I don't think it's so much about this mid-jungle in this matchup. It's more about this top jungle, and can you unlock this big carry player that Bust has proven themselves to be time and time again, and allow QQR and Spark to just scale into the game that little bit more, allow them to take it a little bit easier, and just have that bridge champion up in that top lane, allowing them to play the game out before Venomcrest can just get a ball rolling.
And that, to me, is terrifying, because at the same time, if we're looking at a featured matchup, it's in that top lane specifically. Maybe not the duo, but if we're talking about the likes of Bus and Pop being able to run it out, Kenji is going to have, I think, a pretty nice time almost in that 1v1 scenario. Rev, we've seen this matchup before. We know what Kenji can do, and if there is any way to shut down that top jungle, it's literally just smash top and not even worry about it.
Yeah, and especially if we remember the last few Kenji games, he was always picking those cards, those JCs, those Kennens, into a Bus who has been struggling in those early lane shenanigans. He has been getting solo boloed by an Ornn where he's picking the Gnar. He has been misclicking. Afterwards, things may change completely, but you know what they say, you give Venomcrest an inch, they take a mile.
And that's what they're hoping to do here. Lionscreed Academy now on the blue side to start things off for game number 1, hopefully all the way through the series. Because again, in the lower bracket, they have never only gone 2-0. It's always been a 3-game series. Very curious if that's going to happen here as well. Fans going out pretty dang quickly, though. The Talia, the Ashe on the side of LCA. On the flip, the Karma and Corki. This is standard. Keep in mind, though, I believe Azir is still denied. That is not going to be played or seen anywhere here in this draft.
Yes, it is still disabled. That bug is still in effect. Even on live client, that bug's still in effect. Smolder has made it through. We are still on 14.5. The nerfs haven't hit yet. So if this champion is picked up, Spark has proven to show affinity to it. I hope Venomcrest have something heavy prepared to try and deal with this, because that's one scary dragon.
Yeah, I mean, there are still some answers. I see only the Ashba going through, so the Kalista, which is a really nice answer, is still there. We know that Afribi has been playing all those lane heavy, yet still scaling picks such as the Rat, the Twitch, the Kokomo. So we may see some of those, but for now, we're looking at the Troubled Artisan. There's the Hui as an answer. You're trying to answer range with range, scale with scale.
And I actually really like that. I personally really enjoy Hui right now. It gives you a very... It has firepower. It has sneaky firepower. The burst is still there, but it's more ramping up over time. Not as much as a Smolder, but denying it away and then pairing it with an aggressive type jungler that does want to, stand in front. Bartoldi, another player that we haven't really touched on in this. Of course, we were running around. We'll get to him later, but the Lee Sin being locked in here, very strong opening to try and catch out that Smolder.
The very interesting thing about these two picks as well is they can be flexed around. We've seen Lee Sin mid start to make a bit of a reappearance with the power of Eclipse. We've seen Hui take support, take Eddie carry, take mid. There are still options that you've got with Venomcrest's picks so far, whereas Lionscreed, you're kind of locking Spark into this Smolder. You can give it to QQR, you can give it to Bust, but it really doesn't play to their style necessarily. So I think this is going to be a Smolder Nautilus bot lane duo, allowing the rest of the map to have a little bit of flexibility. It wouldn't shock me to see a jungle answer come in on 3 here, just to secure it so that you don't give this Lee Sin a guaranteed good jungle matchup.
Yeah, on the other hand, what do you answer to the Nautilus? Because normally you just go into the roam and say, okay, now you're completely useless, you can never engage. As soon as you engage, you just die or get chunked and then win the lane. But if you pick that Braum, you're losing all of that engage onto the Smolder. So how are you actually locking that dragon down? Especially when you are giving Lionscreed the chance to ban out that AD carry pool, make sure that anything that is kind of unfavorable for you in the bottom side is taken away. So you can ban the Varus, you can ban the Kalista, and then start scaling into Oblivion.
So
I think that's so true, yeah. The Veigar just like, yeah, we don't want to see scaling.
Yeah. The standard answer we see to Smolder, outside of these more early game lane picks, is backline dive. And you do have that with this Lee Sin, right? We still don't know where this Hui is going. We know it has to be AD or mid. If you send it AD, you leave room for something like maybe a Zed, or a Talon, or a Kiana, or maybe even a Neferi. Backline dive that can make this Smolder's life really, really difficult. It would be an interesting adaptation to see out of Venomcrest, because their ceiling of execution with their drafts or split has been relatively middling, right? They've given themselves drafts they know they can execute well on, but haven't been so hard to execute they need this, and this to go perfectly for them. But I could see them raising that ceiling a little bit. They are in a comfortable position. They've beat Lionscreed once in playoffs. They have this 1 game buffer to try things, see have we got an answer to this Smolder. This would be the game to try and push your ceiling, try and push your ability if you really wanted to. However, I've gone on this tirade, and it looks like we might just get the Varus lock in.
I was gonna say, the ADC pool was not touched as much as we thought, and the Varus was like all the way through the draft, which is normally like a B1 side pickup. Yeah, it's as standard as you can get. Rev, what were you gonna say?
I think it's pretty nice, because right now you do have the dive with the Lee Sin, which can always threaten the reposition of your Smolder. If you cannot flap away fast enough, you're just getting kicked into the face, right into the enemy team. There's the fears, there's the crowd control, there's a lot of damage. But apart from that, you're playing with Rage. You do have a little bit of wave clear with the Hui, and then you never need to walk into the snot of that little Drake. You never need to walk into those fireballs, so you're never getting executed. You don't get, you don't give away all those extra stacks, and yet you can still poke him from afar.
I will say, I really like the idea behind Lionscreed's draft here. They've given themselves 2 very good scaling carries, decent amount of frontline. Their early game is going to be very hard. But if they can get to a point where they scale, they'll be fine. But we've seen this before. You pick without a bridge champion, you tend to struggle quite heavily. You really don't have a bridge champion in this game, save for maybe the Cassante, but we don't know what the Cassante's into. You pick something like a Renekton here, and that goes out the window very quickly. What Lionscreed did do with their draft is they picked double tank on 2-3. That completely shut down the notion of a Senna. That's Kenji Yone. But it shuts down this notion of a Senna, which means you don't have to ban it, and you can't pick one of the best picks into the Smolder because it matches the scaling.
So many little pieces here. And Rev, final thoughts here with these champions all finally locked in.
Yeah, thing is, I really like Venomcrest draft right now. You do have the lane pressure on most of the lanes, even the Hui. He can never really be punished in the 1v1. Maybe with a gang from the RL, if you take his flash, then yeah, his lane becomes uncomfortable. But in the bottom side, you do have the support counter pick, you do have the strongest laner. In the top side, you have the counter pick. In the jungle, apart from, say, level 2, I think the Lee Sin always wins, and you're never looking to be in the river alone when the blind monk is approaching. And the only thing that's missing from Venomcrest is something that can give them the definite punish, something that can force mistakes from the enemy team, something, I don't know, like the Nautilus, that can catch out enemy stranglers and make sure that you punish, you take those neutral objectives, and you can then push for the end. That's my only asterisk, because on the other hand, Lionscreed Academy can just sit back, chill, stay 3-4k behind, and in a most common Lionscreed Academy manner, outscale and win the game.
Oh man, it's going to be a very entertaining time. We got the drafts for game number 1 on the road, so let's go ahead and throw it to the casters, Orbital and Shivy, to take it away. Thank you very much, Orbital. Thank you very much. I am here. My name is Orbital. With me is Shivy, and we are the North American duo coming in here with a lot of fun. We are getting into this draft. This is as stock standard as it feels you can get, but that R5 Yone Shivy. This is gonna be a time.
I have to congratulate you on introing yourself. That was pretty smooth. I'm not going to lie. But yeah, the R5 Yone coming in here. Venomcrest are cooking something up, and they're cooking something spicy here. I think the more interesting part is that they were just willing to let Smolder come to the win and just give that away. I think that's a very big piece right now. We are on patch 14.5. That champion is still very, very strong. It can still come back from 10,000 gold leads. So I hope Venomcrest has cooked something up that can beat this dragon, because if you don't put it down early, it's going to go 27, 28 minutes in, and he's just going to end the game eventually.
Eventually is the best way to put it, and maybe that's the hump Lionscreed actually need, that little extra boost over that speed bump, because for them it is very, very necessary. The entire desk was banking on Venomcrest, but with the Smolder and how much you talked about it, right, that 27-minute 28-minute rolling around, if they're in good standing, hey, Lionscreed have it. What are your predictions, at least for this game, and then for the series as a whole, if this is what we're getting for draft 1?
So yeah, I had my predictions submitted way earlier. I said it was 2-0 Venomcrest, as you can see right above me here. This game, though, might be one of the harder ones to kind of close out, right? They have the Hui, they have the Varus. I'm going to assume they're going to go for something a little bit more later game here, but on-hit Varus could be very, very good, right? You have the Rel, the Nautilus, you've got the K'Sante as well. A lot of tanks that you can free hit and kind of whittle down with this Lethal Tempo version. The thing is, I don't think you want to get into a late game war with Lionscreed, right? With Venomcrest, you want to use those leads early. You want to fight for objectives early. You want to skirmish with the Braum, the Lee Sin, the Yone, like you mentioned, and take dragons very early and accelerate the pace of the game, right? Lionscreed's not comfortable fighting you very early on, right? They don't want to have to group with the Smolder. They don't want to have to group, right, before their items are ready. Use that to your advantage and start taking all the objectives on the map.
And it really draws a lot of power down to that bottom lane. It really draws a lot of our focus down there. And to me, that's quite surprising, because we did want to bank on the fact that for Lionscreed, we were really looking at that top jungle synergy, but that Yone feels like it threw kind of a stump into that plan. Bust and Pop may not actually have that great time. You were even saying, hey, this early game, we don't really want to see that fight. Now, does that actually branch to the top side? Because you're looking between Kenji and Bartoldi, who, again, very storied top and jungle duo. They got a Yone and a Lee Sin. If you're looking for brutalization at levels 2 and 3, this is it. If we are to look at this top jungle in isolation, how do you think it's going to go?
I mean, your topside skirmishing is insane, right? Even with the Hui on your side, right? Like, it's still very, very good. Syndra should have a decently rough time dealing with the range that Hui provides. And you have Prio on Grubs. In theory, you have Prio on bottom side with the Varus, with the Braum. Like, realistically, it's a full press composition from the Venomcrest team, and they've got to use that to their full advantage, right? The ball is in Bartoldi's court, and he's got to dunk it every single time.
That scares me. I don't like hearing the fact that it's like everything's in Bartoldi's hands. You have literally everyone on the map that you can play with, and it's just do whatever. Anytime I hear someone being told, especially a jungler, I will say, that wants to play this carry style, that wants to play in the early game, that you can do whatever, and a good chunk of the time you're going to win out, that terrifies me. Lionscreed should also understand this. They are the team that got dunked in the past 2-0, and they need to be able to kind of bounce back from that. At this current moment, do you think that loss is weighing on their minds? Do you think that's going to actually hold on? Because, I mean, they've been scrapping with the best here in the lower bracket. They've gone 2-1 every single other series. Do you think they bounce back, or do you think there's still a little bit of worry in the back of their mind?
I've always held the idea that the losing team always has more to gain, right? When they lose out to somebody as strong as Venomcrest, you have the ability to adapt. You have the ability to look at what you went wrong in the games and to see how they like to play. It's always much harder for the winning team to come up with a different strategy, to come up with something new. Because if you're winning on it, why would you change it, right? Like, why would you stop using that same strategy? While Lionscreed, they have the ability to counter strat. They have the ability to look out and say, hey, they like to do this at level 3, or when level 6 hits, they they like to go for Herald, or they like to go for whatever, right? Dragons, grubs, whatever you want to call it. There's an ability to scout the enemy team, and it's on the onus is on Venomcrest to show something new and to kind of throw off Lionscreed prep just a little bit.
I think that leans into it, though, because at the same time, Venomcrest are also upset about a loss. There's a reason they're in the lower bracket finals. They lost to Paragon, so if anyone's also coming in with the loss, it's going to be both these squads hoping to show things up. Let's go ahead and get into game number 1. The shopkeeper is ready. So is Lionscreed Academy. And then Venomcrest on the far end of the map will be showing us what for already. Venomcrest looking to have a little bit of fun here in game number 1 with a full stack here on the bottom side. Oh, Spark, we hope you know what's going on.
Yeah, I like this, trying to gain some vision down here. A 5-point defense on the side of Lionscreed. They're not going to go for a level 1 invade. They're most likely going to just look to defend their side of the jungle. Keep Pop on a hidden start right now. But with the Braum, why wouldn't you level 1? Why wouldn't you try to invade, right? I mean, it's free real estate.
The crazy thing as well, Spark is running Fleet Footwork with Teleport in the bot side. This is a triple teleport composition, which to me signals a lot of lost fighting power. Like, this is even putting this bottom side even in a worse position. Venomcrest, when identifying this, is going to feel great.
I mean, the idea is for Spark, right? You're not realistically ever going to look to fight them with combat summoners, whether it's heal, ghost, exhaust, whatever you want to say. If you can TP back to lane, get more stacks going, it empowers the ability for Spark to get the dragon practice, to keep on pace, and even if he falls behind, he has the ability to TP to big waves, whether in the top side or the mid lane here, and keep stacking that passive. I think it's a pretty shrewd summoner spell choice, and it may end up paying off. We might see a 22 to 24 minute fully stacked Smolder here with the execute going.
I would hope so. This is the last time you really get that chance. We're on 14.5, and as Adess pointed out, Nurse haven't hit just yet. The width of the Snot Sneeze is still very much up and available. Still able to kind of handle that. On the jungle routes, though, that hasn't really been touched right now. Lee Sin, full clearing in their own right, with Pop just going small camp to red buff.
Yeah, and the thing to note here is that Lionscreed did get a sneaky ward down onto Venomcrest's red side here. They'll know, because he's not showing on Raptors and red buff, that he should have started on the blue side. Will be interesting to see where Bartoldi goes. Like I said, he could go to Kenji in that top side, help support him. Not a lot of trading has been done. Bust has been doing a good job making sure he doesn't get low so he can't get dove. But right now, I think, like we said, Bartoldi has full priority, right? He's got the onus to do things. He's got to make it work, whether it's getting objectives with his lane priority, whether it's facilitating dives. Like, the ball is in his court, right? Because as the game goes on, Rels and Gauges are going to be a lot easier to hit. They're going to be way more devastating into Venomcrest composition when Syndra and Smolder are allowed to free fire into your composition.
Spark and QQR, just hold on. Let me have some fun. Bartoldi saying, I don't even worry about that one. Pop getting the hell out of that bottom lane. Is now looking towards that mid lane, but QQR, as discussed, playing a little bit safer back, saying I don't have to worry about too much. As we mentioned, though, every single lane kind of rolling into Venomcrest's favor. CS leads and differentials, not that different, but it's enough to allow a clean scuttle take by Bartoldi.
Yeah, and Kenji did a little bit of a cheater recall, came back with the call, is fully dead set on farming here in that top side. No, it's not going to be too crazy. They actually ended up spotting Bartoldi out on a ward, so he kind of wasted some time on this Lee Sin. Still has not cleared his red side. Is going to opt for a back here to get back onto the map a little bit quicker. You can still buy the Doran's Blade here. That isn't patched out yet because we are on 14.5, but Kenji's got to watch out.
Kenji burning that flash early, but that leaves you very open as a double stun and knockback means Kenji is in a rough fight. I don't think there's any way really out of this. You have the Q coming back up, and you are safe, but a dive into the tower. Bust wants a little bit more. You're not in a good spot. You're dropped down to about 100 HP. Kenji getting out of a really rough situation. Bartoldi might be able to do cleanup crew. Take how long Bust is actually sitting. If you turn around the corner, it's big. Ward goes down as Pop spots it out. Bust doesn't want to send the situation massive way under the tower. So it looks like Kenji might not want to actually do what Bartoldi, just going to shove off this top side.
Yeah, good cover, right? Kenji doesn't have to miss like a wave and a half here because of that gank. Comes in, covers for the Yone, lets him pick up all that CS. Good gank from Pop, right? Because he did do that red side clear into what was like Gromp and Scuttle, and just like, all right, I can gank top here. We know where Bartoldi was, and he's not going to be on the top side anytime soon. Using that opportunity, flash for flash burned, gives Bust a potential opportunity to outplay because this Ghost is still available, and if he lands a good couple abilities here with the Intofo strikes, could find that kill onto Kenji here.
Kenji also getting R5 situation is another piece of the puzzle. We're very curious to see how this plays out. With that Cole buy, you still have to go back and pick up your boots. I'm not sure you have full boots of speed. We'll see if that does come about. I'm curious. I'm watching the inventory right now, so it is only boots. Oh, boots and daggers, so not, I guess not completely awful, but we all know Yone scales as soon, like, Yone is complete once you have boots of attack speed, Berserker's reset, Pop. Now joining in to this grub battle as it's 5.5 minutes
Kenji
in.
should roam.
Bartoldi, Kenji maybe looking for a piece, but Pop having a little bit more pressure with Bust around is going to walk their way out. Bartoldi turning back and around with a snipe from Pop. It'll be 2 to Bartoldi's pocket.
Ooh, and look at the Ghost.
Okay. Kenji doesn't have anything, and it's a level 6 fight. Kenji, I think, is just dead. This is going to be Kasante level 1 Bust popping off.
Yeah, like I said, the flash being down, the kill opportunity coming in, Bust is a slight XP advantage over Kenji and immediately leverages that for a solo kill here. So that R5 Yone not panning out the way they expected, but like you said, it's a scaling pick. He has Cole. Once he gets the Bork, if he'll, interestingly enough, go Frostborn Gauntlet, he'll go for the full kill here. So we get a replay. The moment Bust hits 6, right, he just pops the Ghost and starts going in here. Really nice from him to kind of position himself to get that full drag through the wall, and it's easy peasy lemon squeezy after that, right? Bust with a solo kill onto Kenji. Very well played.
And this, again, leaning into Lionscreed favor. We talked about the fact that Pop and Bust need to make things happen, especially with the scaling on QQR and Spark. You want to get this lead in the top side. You want to ensure Kenji is going to have free push. Kenji is not allowed to have that split push threat. You can force Venomcrest into a team fight scenario on your own terms. I think that's what they're going to be really, really happy about. Dragon currently on the table as well. But in the bot side, a little bit of a stun and run. Heathen trying to turn things around, but with the arrow shot straight through, Heathen is taken quite low. It's enough time to draw in a freebie who will flash away to safety. No more concussive blows, though, as Spark forces everyone else away. Stacks on stacks for Spark.
Pop has been doing a very good job just being where he needs to be to kind of stave off more aggression. If Pop's not there, I'm certain a freebie flashes in for the kill onto Heathen there, right? With that priority, with the back that's forced out on this Nautilus, they're able to get this Dragon, albeit slightly late, right? It's 8 minutes in, but that still, projects you for a 23, 24-minute Dragon Soul, whatever they might be. It's not that bad, and Venomcrest using their priority in the mid lane, in the bot lane, to get objectives. This is what we wanted to see them do, but they have to continue doing it as the game goes later.
Not just that, they're still on track as well to possibly get Void Grubs. That's the other side of it. They were able to claim 2. That feels pretty good. So global pressure is leaning into Venomcrest's side. Heathen roaming out, though, saying maybe we can get something in mid. And going back to this mid lane, it's another piece of the puzzle, Ruskility. More than happy to just kind of sit here and farm up. We talked about the fact that even leaning in towards mid, LCA, you're not actually going to enjoy trying to gank a champion that quite literally doesn't really have to even look your way to do damage to you.
Yeah, I think also the ability to kind of fear the initiator and kind of stop them in their tracks is very, very important. Later on in these team fights, Roskilde is going to get a lot of free AoE damage off of his ultimate, right? It's a Nautilus, it's a Cassante, it's a Rel. Like, they're going to be relatively clumped up trying to find that engage here. So I really like this Hui pick, and I want to see how it's going to function, like you said, in those 5v5 team fights, if Lionscreed even wants to entertain that idea prior to Spark and QQR scaling. He then blows the flash here. Bartoldi doing God's work right now on this Lee Sin, just trying to get something done.
And it's little things. It's the flash. It's the we got pressure on Pop. It's these extra pieces, but it's not that big because Pop's actually had the ultimate hold. That's gonna be a scout of the week into an unleashed power, and then a knockup behind. A final auto attack will finish it as Pop is able to pick it up. That's now 2 pieces to the puzzle layer in bot side. Look for a little retribution. It will be a kick to secure, and a freebie will pick it up. So kill fed to the ADC, but Venomcrest, it's a 1-for-1 trade at the end of the day. Pop still looking for a bit more action. I don't think you actually like this call. Pop having to get away, does have flash available. Chase in with fast leg and a flash away with the Magnet Storm. Draws fast leg a little bit closer, but a piercing arrow from behind. One more auto attack to do a good Q stun. And yes, you draw it back, but a freebie still picks up 2. Remember, with the kill difference, it could be big. Spark eating a lot of damage. We're totally not landing that Q. With the Sonic Wave not landing, it's now QQR's turn to cry on them. Slowly rolling down. Bartoldi almost predicted, but gets predicted instead, and QQR will auto-attack you to death. QQR picking it up, an assist and a kill across the map. LCA up all around.
Good job from the Lionscreed Academy here, right? They knew Roskilde didn't have the TP available. They got that kill recently. They can roam down after that extended kind of overstay, I'll say, from Venomcrest bottom side. But now it's Roskilde's turn. Can he do anything? He's got the range, but I don't think he has the support from his team because the wave is pushed in.
And it feels bad. This is... this situation is not exactly great. We talked about LCA. They're a scaling composition. They're feeling great right now. But for Venomcrest, you just lost out on about 4 early game plays with a Lee Sin. With, well, I mean, I wouldn't say Varus really lost out. You're pretty happy. Spark, though, might lose out in the mid lane. TP straight into danger. I wasn't expecting this one. Mom called down. Final Snipe could come through. Lightning Bolt could be ready. Bartoldi gonna watch as the side comes down, and Spark, understanding that the bolt will come from the sky. Still, though, you burn TP, get nothing for it, but allow your team to pick up 3 of those grubs. 4-2. No Void Mites to be seen.
Yeah, good job from Lionscreed, using that overstay from Venomcrest to take the objective on the top side of the map. Right now, Lionscreed is doing a very good job, you know, staying in the lead, right? We talked about potentially them giving up some gold, bleeding a little bit in the early game because Venomcrest have such a good full press composition. Right now, with this Rel, with this Nautilus, they're getting tankier and tankier, and eventually when we get to that team fight stage, Spark and QQR are going to have so much space to work with, right? You even look at Pop's build. He rushed Knight's Vow just to make sure that his team is safe, right? It got reworked. It's so good now. You can reapply it in the middle of team fights if Spark or QQR goes down, and it gives you that Omnivamp. It gives you that lifesteal and tanking ability so that Spark and QQR can pop off. I'm very excited to see Lionscreed team fight because they're ahead of the curve, right? They're 1,000 gold ahead on what should be a scaling composition.
It's one of those situations where you're just sitting there, everything leaning into Lionscreed's Academy's way. And I'm very impressed. We talked about some of the differences in their earlier setup, but in this situation, you saw the gold differences pretty much across the board. LCA looking strong. Now, will they be able to carry it on? I did mention that Spark had a little bit of unfortunate TP into that mid lane. It has resulted in about a 10 CS lead for a freebie who we talked about in previous series has actually looked quite strong. On the top side, though, this is where the big pinch is going. Kenji might not be allowed to really play the game, and this R5 Yoni is about to get ulted again. Level 10 this time, though, goes into a little bit of the spirit form, slicing and dicing their way through, saying, hey, maybe I can play a little bit of Renekton, but over the wall you go. You draw into combat, and QQR is here as well. You flash over the wall, but you are safe. What a play to get to safety. The die's still going on, though. Take a look. Tower falls. Kenji getting beaten up and pummeled right now. Shield will only delay for a time more, and it will be death in tower as the Lionscreed Academy continue their gold rush.
The R5 Yone not working out as intended right now. Kenji not having a fun time in that top lane here. With all that hubbub and commotion, though, you see Venomcrest are preparing a dive of their own.
They're going to try a good body block from Fast Leg, but take a look at that. It's a snipe Roskilde from long range, painting a picture of death. TP coming in for QQR, though. They're not really going to find anything. And keep in mind, this Infernal Soul that's going to be played with means that Venomcrest, they've been very slow on the start. They haven't really been able to do anything, whether that be by their own device or not. They're going to be forced to. They're going to be forced to engage. Meanwhile, Pop is more than happy to situate this. That's going to be a Q landing, and they're going to try to turn around, but a boot back as the insect works wonders. Bartoldi might pay their life, but a good chain of corruption keeps Pop where they stand. Bartoldi might be able to get out, does have the energy for it. I don't know if they have the warding, though. Heathen, ready to run interference, draws them in. Kill granted to Pop.
Yeah, they want to get Pop as strong as possible here. Good kill. Good kick from Bartoldi, by the way, onto Spark to feed that kill over. A freebie 3-0-1 on this on-hit. Varus could do wonders later into these team fights, right? 3.5 minutes until this dragon pops up. That's not a lot of time for QQR and Spark to hit their 2-item power spikes, right? They might still be sitting on some components here. I like what Venomcrest has been doing. They can force the issue, like you mentioned, with these dragons. Herald is still up and on the board. Let's see if they roam one of their bottom laners or both their bot laners here into this Herald, or they're going to keep the pressure on this bot side and just try to raw 3v3 Lionscreed.
I wouldn't be opposed to that. I really, really wouldn't, because take a look at Bus. Bus is chilling with 1.5. It might as well be the biggest tank in the world. A freebie does have the board. You're still going to take a while. So bringing him up might be a challenge, and they are going to go for it, though, because of those concussive blows, and more so, Pop and Bus willing to rotate early. This is going to be a little bit of a challenge. Herald currently being fought over with Roskilde being the one on the bot side to try and hold this tower. Spark 1, 1, and 2 has been zoning out very nicely. I don't know what the stack score is right now. Shouldn't be too high in the mark, but it's enough. You're more than happy about the current situation.
Yeah, I like how they sent Roskilde down to kind of clear the bottom wave 1v2, and they've sent 4 members of Venomcrest for this Herald. I think getting this is very crucial for them, but the dive is going to come in. Roskilde can't clear it fast enough.
If this is a good answer, it's a solid one. Spark, though, will eat a lot of damage. It was very, very necessary. Good sidestep as the fly freely is real. Spark dipping every which way and picks up the kill and more so. Yes, Herald goes the way of Bartoldi and the team. The fast-legged realizes that the gold difference in QQR and Pop is very, very nice. A freebie, though, gonna look for a chain of corruption land, but so does Scott. Wait, now a knockup with a fissure. Lands QQR in hot water. In goes a little bit of a heartbreaker as death blooms above. Yone with the damage, but drawn right back in. A kill underneath the tower as Heathen wants to get in the mix. Concussive blows keep you stasis. I'm not sure you're gonna like this. Remember who's fed. A freebie is the one. A freebie is trying to shred through everyone. Another piece of air to proc. The blights, and it works. Spark is now running for your life. You're now caught flashing to safety. Another Q lands.
TP on the Herald.
Do you dive this? No, you don't. TP from Roskilde to try and keep the tower alive, but Fast Legged picks it up. Another claw does not land, but the death has already been done. And Venomcrest have yielded back. They grab everything they could like. It's an even kill game, but they get so much gold.
They get the mid lane turret. They do a near pretty much ace onto the side of Lionscreed Academy, and Lionscreed, they just kind of trickled in one by one, and nobody could reach a freebie. He was just free hitting away. Fully stacked lethal tempo. Varus will just shred through this composition. Very well played. I think Lionscreed overstepped their boundary in the mid lane. As we get the replay, it starts with Fast Leg kind of just cheekily getting vision and starting off, but this chain of corruption into the glacial fissure sets the whole fight up. And at that point, once the Syndra goes down, where's your damage? Who can come in and finish these individuals off? Yeah, Kenji goes down, but you've got 2 tanks and a Smolder that is clearly not ready to fight. Just look at a freebie and how fast and how much damage he's doing while positioning well out of DPS range. Very good TP on top of this from Roskilde to keep the turret tanking that Herald and allow the rest of Venomcrest to keep going for more. They get the, like you said, clean or near clean ace, mid lane tier 1, and some much needed kills onto the carries. Very, very well played Venomcrest team fight. We might just be in for round 2.
I think the round 2 is going to go their way, though, as they do catch a freebie who has no summoner spells. However, this catch by Kenji. Kenji comes in to help out, and that's going to be a 2-piece. Are you kidding me? Venomcrest are going to do it back-to-back. QQR is going to fall. Kicking Sparks away, but Spark can only run so far. This one is much cleaner than the first, and Venomcrest take 4.
They take 4 with the Infernal Dragon coming up. Going to put them on Soul Point at the 19.5-minute mark here. They were down nearly almost 3,000 gold, but 2 quick back-to-back team fights from Venomcrest secure themselves a gold lead, put them on Soul Point. They are firmly in the driver's seat right now, and Lionscreed Academy they've got to figure out how to stabilize. They've got to figure out what to do because they are losing fight after fight after fight.
And I have to say, two things came about in that first team fight that I want to point out. Lionscreed walked into the one person that had kills on Venomcrest. That is literally the only one that I think had kills. That Freeman was chilling. But I think they vastly overestimated the strength of their champions. You said it, QQR. Falling meant you didn't really have an extra damage boost. Assuming Bus had more damage than they actually put out, it feels bad. Lionscreed, they did everything right in the early game. But this mid game, Venomcrest, biting back very, very quickly. Take a look at what it's done to the items right now. A freebie, 2.5, 2 on Roskilde, 2 on Bartoldi. Kenji, after picking up 2 kills in the back and then 4 assists as well, 1.5. More than enough to keep pumping out. All of a sudden, Lionscreed, their mentality needs to shift. We are not in control as much as we thought we were.
Yeah, and Lionscreed have a very classic two-threat composition, and they know they can't fight this Baron. Venomcrest doing it because they understand Spark's not ready, QQR's not ready, they have the item lead, and they're just using this to bait another fight.
It's too real. Bust, who has been so strong, is melted like freaking butter. In comes Bomb, but Pop is caught, and Pop goes the kick. A little bit too tanky for their liking, though, and they don't really want to force anything else. A little bit of fear goes down as it's a catch. It's out of the week, not going to land, though. It's QQR says, oh, crap, we're in trouble. Heathen trying to salvage this, but it might work. Shut down around the board for the Smoldering Spark, getting
Kenji.
those executes, and maybe you can keep running. Another Snot Seize comes out. No one else is slowed, and all of a sudden, LCA right back into the middle of this, 2 for 2.
And now we've hit the point in the game where it's warped into Lionscreed's favor, right? 241 stacks at 21 minutes. That TP, so important on Spark to keep the stacks going, even if he's forced out of lane. I talked about him potentially hitting a 20 to 22 minute execution point. I think he hit 225 around 20 minutes, right? 20 and a half. The game has warped now, Orbital. It's all about Spark being the carry for Lionscreed Academy in these team fights. Can Bartoldi, can Kenji jump onto Spark before he can get the damage done? That's the big question now.
I'd also like to point out, Spark just got a massive income piece. That was a shutdown of at least 700 proportion on a freebie who was 707 before those shutdown. That's crazy. Let's take a look at this fight again. You get the early kill on Sebas, who has been your main annoyance the entire time, which is fine. And then you get to chase a little bit further, right? Pop drops a Magnet Storm, and you don't want to push too much further. This is where things get a little bit messy. Take a look at where Spark is. Spark is more than happy, and there it is. The immediate snap, and then against the wall. This is the big chunk that Heathen was so happy to spout out, and then Spark just cuts through them so cleanly. You can almost see the fear turn in for Venomcrest right there.
Yeah, it's like, oh wait, he's got the execute now? Everybody run. Tuck your tails and dip on out, and this power spike for Spark is going to be the difference maker, right? Because Dragon's coming up in about 1 minute and 40 seconds. Lionscreed Academy probably feel that they're strong enough to take this fight, but Spark has to watch his position. He only has the flash available, no ghost, so he's got one mistake he can make here. As Lionscreed are going to try to trade out this vision. Venomcrest have all the priority right now. They can look to, oh my lord!
They actually got Spark, but they couldn't follow up behind it. Instead, they'll just take Pop's life, and that's pretty good. Bus TPing into the middle of them. But they've learned, Venomcrest have learned, don't chase too far, but they're going to look for the catch, and the follow-up behind by Kenji. Spark over the wall is safe, but look again, Bust melts. Bust is busted as mid lane is dominated by Venomcrest.
And Spark's just not allowed to participate. He's got a flash, he gets kicked away, he's been kept out of this fight. Not through damage, not through death, but just sheer CC, right? Sheer fear of Venomcrest. And with those 2 kills, they're going to feel confident enough to take this Baron here, rightfully so. I think Lionscreed Academy are just going to try to send it here. They still have one of their tanks. Heathen is still alive. They have a front line to play with. How confident are you, Spark? How confident are you, QQR, to stop this Baron in its tracks?
You gotta be real careful. Heathen has been the one to start these fights a lot of the time, but it's going down too quickly. I think they gotta give it up. Venomcrest, shaky early game, interesting mid, interesting fights. Now control everywhere at 24 minutes. Dragon, even not up in time, 10 seconds away. Venomcrest maybe looking to contest it as well.
They might beeline it right now. Lionscreed does have the damage. Let's see if LCA can potentially set up a pick or a trap instead. They're just going to look to burn this dragon to bits. I don't think Venomcrest is going to go for it. They're going to walk into darkness instead. They've got that Baron buff. They've got it ready. They've got it cloaked amongst all 5 of them. Are they really going to look for this fight? Yeah, I don't think so.
Nope. But here's the thing. Take a look at what LCA actually stormed out. They went ahead and flooded down to the bot side. Venomcrest going to try and shove this tower, set up a siege in the middle of the lane, and force the rest of Lionscreed Academy to fight from inside the base. There will be no side lane pressures or anything like that. So it may just be a straight up front to back, still yielding favor to LCA and Spark as long as you get your front liners. But yeah, that was just a quick push. Little bit of chip damage on this tower. I wasn't sure how far they were going to go, but they do need to break open this top lane. For as many towers have been taken, it's all been in the mid lane. Venomcrest still have a lot of freestanding gold on this top and bot.
Bit of a nitpick here. I wish Venomcrest, instead of trying to like beeline it to the dragon or all 5 manning mid, would have fixed their side lanes just a little bit, because now they have to waste their time going top, going bottom lane, and they can't really use this Baron buff to its effectiveness. It looks like they're actually searching for a fight here. I mean, you have Baron, you have side lane pressure. They're going to just dunk onto Spark?
They're going to try, but look at that. Magnus about 3! Oh, Venomcrest, they filter in the worst way possible. Death Charge in the back line. And so Skelly is going to get tried. Haven, what a hook! Triple kill for Spark. And Spark is a lightning bolt for this team.
Looking for a fight against a team fight composition. Lionscreed had all the ability to find these fights, these pockets of vision. It was dark mostly around this top side here. They get filtered. Pop hits a massive, massive Magnet Storm like you mentioned. And now Venomcrest have to turn tail and run. I don't even know if they're going to back. They're just probably going to lose this top lane inhibitor potentially. I don't think LCA is going to go for it. As we take a look at the replay, look at where Venomcrest are positioning. Look how they're funneling into this choke. They try to go on to Spark, but the E from him allows them to buy enough time, and the stun into Magnet Storm combo is everything they need. QQR and Pop come up big, and all Spark has to do is play janitor duty, right? Gets the triple kill, cleans everything up. And that Baron that Venomcrest had, that leeway they had into this game to start potentially ending it, has stopped all momentum. Lionscreed have stopped Venomcrest in their tracks right now, and the gold is nearly dead even.
I just want to point out, Shibby, you are a psychic. You said at 27 minutes, this is when Lionscreed Academy, their composition starts to come online. We are at the 27-minute mark. That's exactly when it turned. You saw that shift, and I want to give a lot of credit to QQR. We have not talked about the Syndra B4 pickup against Roskilde. We talked about the fact that, hey, the play is strong. Those 6 assists have come at such crucial moments with those Scatter the Weeks. I main Syndra. I love playing her. It is difficult to be able to set up a little bit of that time for your team and know the exact points to make sure to hit multiple people. Some people will call it, you know, hashtag skill and all that. I still think it takes an incredible player to know when to hold the Scatter the Week for the proper time. This composition for LCA is coming together so smoothly. They've gotten over the early game hump. At this point, I do feel the only other time that we're going to see some changes are at Baron as well as at this Dragon. LCA still have to play for that major objective.
Yeah, there's still a lot of map control, you know, for Venomcrest here, right? Mid lane tier 2 is still down here. They've got bottom and top lane tier 1s. They can set up vision traps if they are looking for fights, but you simply can't front to back with the Venomcrest, right? Like, you can't. You're gonna die to QQR. You're gonna die to Spark here. You've got to look for cheeky engages. You've got to look for like flash kick flanks onto Spark here, because this guy has just been dodging out abilities left and right here. Even if he doesn't have flash, the way he's been moving, Spark has been dodging skill shots very, very, very carefully, and he's just been getting max value out of this Smolder here. I want to know if Venomcrest is actually going to tempt this dragon, or if they're just going to look to kind of split across the map here, in the side lanes, potentially top and bottom and mid, and just give that one up away. They only have to get 1 out of the next 4 here, but Venomcrest, it feels like they're slowly but surely losing the grip on this game.
I think they've already felt it slip away. This is... I don't want to say desperation, because I do agree. They are still playing with very measured patience, but they do know their composition doesn't exactly feel great. We're
Oh,
gonna
look
see
at Kenji.
Bartoldi start to send their life around.
Look
I
at
do agree,
Kenji.
though, that is gonna be the turn. Kenji's on the side. Not only that, Bartoldi trying to sneak around the back end, but these deep wards. Take a look at how safe LCA have been trying to keep themselves. Dragon up in about 15. As long as LCA are the ones to join in first, it's big. A freebie and Ruskildy, though, they're gonna get caught up. That's gonna be a death charge all the way in the back. Mom gets called in, but a good shield is there. Magnustorm again, though, keeps them all there, and they are blown up. Spark is annihilated, but it's DPS for DPS, and then some. Bust locks out a third. Spark is dominating. Bust destroys Ruskildy, and it looks like a 3-for-1. Venomcrest can do nothing but wait as LC are starting to wash through these fights.
I mean, Venomcrest just have these deep flanks, and because they spotted Bartoldi out on vision, and they knew Kenji wasn't anywhere near, Lionscreed just makes the decision to go, hey, there are 3 members, both of their carries, pretty much unguarded. Let's just force the engage onto them. Pop hits a nice Magnustorm, and yeah, you kill Spark, but your other carries are already down. Kenji and Bartoldi cannot clean up the rest of this fight. Lionscreed Academy doing a very good job turning on to Venomcrest when Venomcrest are trying to set something up very, very sneakily.
That's all they have. And you're looking at the gold right now. This gold is not even. This gold is not
Fake.
worth it. It's just really not. You look at where the gold is. Spark chilling. 4.5. Looking at that 5th. You compare it to a freebie. That's fair. But you look at the rest. Kenji trying to build up 3.5. Bartoldi 2.5. These gold differences, the items do so
Hey,
much
Kenji.
else. Kenji, though, saying they're trying to even the score. Spark over the wall is a little bit safe. Fade sealed.
Oh!
We're at 2, but who else is going to follow up? Remember, it happens again. Yes, Spark goes down. Is this going to be Venomcrest fighting the fight that they want? Scout of the week, not really going to slow anyone. Heathen is down. What a call from Kenji. And it's again straight towards the mid lane.
Wave states not in particular order here. Baron is up. They're going to see if they can try to bust open this mid lane tier 3 turret here. They've got the champion. Spark is down. Heathen is down. I think they're going to be able to take it here. Do they turn back for the Baron, though? That's the big question. Bartoldi's going for the death! QQR, wrong place, wrong time. Bartoldi might have found that pick. We said it was gonna be a difference in the top end jungles. That is one of the situations we want to watch. Bartoldi and Kenji just gave Venomcrest the inhibitor. That kill onto QQR might have allowed them to turn onto this Baron. They messed that up. He survives. The rest of Lionscreed Academy are going to get back onto the map right now in Venomcrest. They have an inhibitor turret, but heroics from Kenji, heroics from Bartoldi is what won them this fight. How many times are they going to be able to do that, though? Spark just has to survive one engage, and the game might be over.
It's too real. I hate that you're saying that because at 32 minutes, we have entered the territory of one more fight. This is the legendary moment that I call that. The first 31 and a half minutes don't matter. No one cares about that. No one worries about that. It all comes down to this final moment. Keep eyes on where Kenji is. Kenji is not there. And Fastlane gets caught out. Down to about a quarter HP, but Baron is stopped. Watch Bartoldi. Bartoldi off in the wings, playing in Fog of War. Mid lane will be cleared out. A freebie is looking popping that jump forward, looking for a little bit of speed up. Nothing really found. And Venomcrest backing away. Round 2, LCA going right back to Baron.
They just got to keep this mid-wave shoved at the moment. Get them off of Baron. Dragon's coming up in 2 minutes. Could result in the Infernal Soul, but they've got a really quick Dragon on the Lionscreed, or Baron on the Lionscreed side right now. QQR playing in this Fog of War, looking for the Scatter of the Weeks that'll end the fight here, similar to what's happened the last 2 times they've won. Both teams looking for positioning, muscling their way in. Baron is still getting whittled down slowly but surely.
All right, that's the hook that they want. He then found the other
Look at
support.
Bartoldi.
Baron's backing away because Bartoldi's all the way on the top side. QQR actually having to shy away. They can't risk getting caught because of that
Kenji's
time.
mid?
Kenji's actually just pushing mid. Kenji's going to look, and is Venomcrest actually going to turn for this Baron? They are collapsing on top of it. And I don't think LCA are actually too worried about it. They're saying, hey, we can rotate back. Yeah, Venomcrest, they were trying to do something a little bit cheeky. It's not going to happen. Double Scryers tossed down just to ensure it's not taken. After true rounds of the Baron dance, no one really falls.
Yeah, mid lane priority. gotten for Kenji, right? He can threaten the end potentially if these supers start banging on the doors of the Nexus here. So Lionscreed have to respect it, but they're just going to come back here and trade vision. And they know that most of Venomcrest is on a reset right now. They're just going to burn this super quickly. They know Kenji's bottom side with no TP.
What a freaking call and then some. It's a sniper on the wall. Roskilde, they might be able to find it, but you don't get it because it's a 1200 smite. Good timing, though, by Roskilde. 5 Baron empowered players, though, as Kenji will pick up a consolation prize. Gold goes back in, but at this point, you're hitting item breakpoints. It doesn't really matter. I should say that. I rescind that statement right away. I'm so sorry.
The silver lining here for Venomcrest is that they do get priority vision onto this dragon. Mid lane might be pushing with Baron minions, and they might have supers pushing, but you can look at where they're positioned. The thing is, for me, Roskilde doesn't have too much mana available, but Bartoldi's looking for the kick!
Bartoldi found it, but Spark is out! Spark is safe because Kenji's still teeping into the fight, so down goes Bartoldi. Spark is fine, QQR is safe, but you really can't dance that Fate. Fate is not still just shat. The final attack will force Kenji back into the spirit form. It is going to be jungle for top laner, so Dragon will go the way of LCA.
Bartoldi goes down. He got a kick, but Spark was able to fly over the terrain there. He's completely safe. He still has flash available. They can go for another aggressive team fight, potentially. How much are they going to be able to stop this dragon? They're whittling away health bars. Heathen? Oh my god, he's just eating so many skill shots from this way right now.
Oh, Roskilde, sniper, no sniping. Artillery shells incoming. Dragon down to about 4k. Honestly, Venomcrest might have had this. That's going to be a Scout of the Week use, and they can't really contest it back. LCA just lost priority. Out comes the Chain of Corruptions. That's going to be a catch. Pop is just down. Spark's still firing away, but you lose your jungle and then some. Fate Seal coming out again. Shut down. That's going to be Spark fighting back, but the shields are up. Look at the burn. Baron. Dragon is taken quite low. Bus coming in for a re-engage. You died earlier, but you grabbed 2 along the side. A freebie is going to be low, but that's a kill. The execute is too real. It's Spark to get the delayed ace.
And after all that investment, all that work to kill the jungler, you greed for more Venomcrest. The dragon was at 3,000 HP. You could have just turned and killed it. You would have had Infernal Soul Venomcrest. Why? Why have you let greed consume you?
Greed. Greed is the true winner here today. And it's a painful... This is game 1, Shibby. This is game freaking 1. They're playing it like a game 3. We have had 2 Barons so far, fully stacked. And let's watch this again. This greed. You talked about it, Shibby.
Look at it. They get the Chain of Corruptions onto Pop here. They get the kill. Dragon's sitting at 2,600 HP. Brother, Venomcrest, just finish it. Why are you fighting into Spark? He's got an execute. It's stacked up. They give just enough time for Bust to come in. And I don't care if you're Braum. You're not going to block any of this here. Spark ending the fight. Janitor style, cleaning it up on this Smolder. Venomcrest, I know the pressure is on. I know the decisions are harder, but you've got to steel yourselves here. The game has been within your grasp multiple times today.
It's been there, but those chances were all in the early game. We mentioned it before that the composition from Venomcrest, it doesn't scale perfectly into the late game. LCA's composition feels like it will always be relevant after minute 30, and that's what they've been. Here's the thing. Spark still wandering about, now has Zanya's completed. You're more than happy to kind of front side tank for a freebie and Roskilde. You still have to work through Pop, Heathen, as well as a Bust. They're basically just waiting. They're trying to get the wave states under control as Kenji is still pushing on the bot side. Keep eyes on that. We'll have to watch for it, see how far it goes. It's going to be a chance. Bartoldi looking. Spark almost caught away. But the nice game of the week means Bartoldi's dead. Another backdoor keeps him safe. And Spark is going to stay strong. Zanya's to stay safe, but Kenji's still doing it on the backside. Spark wallows through everyone. The child rears his head. Doesn't even need mom's help. Double kill for the chance. And there's a dive in the back, fast-legged, as well as a freebie are going to try and stay safe, but you can't hold that wall. It's 4 dead. Quadra kill for Spark. And that just might be game number 1. LCA charging down, Kenji being chased. No way to recall as bus says you are busted. You are dead. You are in no way getting back to your base. Lionscreed Academy force a game possible 3 if Venomcrest wants to win. Huge game 1.
Smolder. Smolder,
Yeah.
guys. Smolder's a cool composition. Smolder's a cool champion. I doubt Venomcrest are going to give that over again. I doubt it's going to be given over to any of these teams later, these games 2 and potentially 3 here. Very well played from Lionscreed. Very, very elite play from both QQR and Spark here on the double carry threat composition. Special shout out to Pop. The guy was hitting massive, massive magnet storms, right? Consistently 2, 3, 4-man magnet storms from time to time here, setting up his carries for success. LCA coming in with a 1-0 victory right now. One more game, and they launch themselves to grand finals. Venomcrest, do or die situation. They've got to go for the mini reverse sweep, as you would like to say, Orbital.
That would be crazy. And honestly, to break down all of those crazy fights, all the crazy action, let's throw it back to the desk of Orbital, Zika, and Rev to go ahead and break things down for us.
Pull up in that Lambo with the 10 on it. Everything on free, 14 got a rims on it. I pull up in that Lambo with the 10 on it. Everything on free, 14 got a rims on it. I pull up in that, 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 pull up Lambo with the 10 got it.
Yeah. Yeah. After I get it, I reinvest. After I get it, I reinvest. wanna talk that talk in reality. You have not seen me in action. You think the come up comes overnight. You ain't behind the scenes. Trust me, these things don't just happen. No shade to Gerald, but G's don't come easy when you tryna eat out producing and rapping. I read that contract you sent me to sign, but excuse me, I can't help myself, I'm just laughing. Hey, you tryna cut out a piece of my pie, and I asked you politely, what's it that you offer me? Yeah, I produce all my own beats, and I have no intention of losing my publisher. Yeah, independent individual, boy, I've been eating off passive residuals. Yeah, let's be professional. Thanks for your time, but I had to decline out of principle. I've been scheming up a plan. Hey, I've been saving all I can. Hey, you could call me David Rams. Hey, the way I handle these bands. Hey, we ain't messing with the old model. New era, new kid, we full throttle. Just know that the come up is not a fluke. My amigos, they focus, know what to do. After I get it, I reinvest. After I get it, I reinvest. After I get it, I reinvest. Stack and put it back in it. After I get it, I reinvest. After I get it, I reinvest. After I get it, I reinvest. Stack and put it back in it.
Yo, look, I ain't saying that I'm rich, cause if I'm honest, I've never been. But when I look at all these other kids, I feel just a little bit ahead of them. You should know the business is competitive. There's a lot of people that I'm better than. Even veterans ain't got the knowledge I do. I've been reinvesting all I ever spent. Stop pretending like you poppin'. Who been out here making profit?
After that insane game, it felt like things were, back and forth and back and forth. And Lionscreed, they gave us a taste in the early game. Mid to late, what the heck, Rev Sheikah? What was going on that game?
Dragon game.
Yeah, Schmoll the champion. That's it. You didn't punish it enough early on in the game, and then at some point it didn't need its mom. So yeah.
Yeah, that was really. I think we had the stats from the previous game as well. We got confirmation that I think we had about 500 stacks on Smolder by the end of that game. For those that don't know, the nerfs have not gone through, meaning every single 50 stacks or so, you're getting it, or at 60, I think is what it was. You get an extra percentage on execute. That's why we watch some of these champions get blown up. I mean, Sheikah, walk us through this, because it did start in the early game. It felt like some of those momentum-based fights, it didn't feel like Lionscreed were getting a lot, but the stacks just ramped up very quickly.
They did. The early game was fine, generally speaking. Venomcrest lost a couple of things. But generally speaking, they actually did quite well. So this is about 16 and a half minutes into the game. This is where we see Venomcrest first come online. They catch onto QQR quite beautifully, blow up the Syndra, then they turn onto Port. At this point, you're thinking, okay, the fight's done, but Buster's on the flank, manages to trade 1-for-1, but Heathen has come in thinking Buster's here, but Buster's just been kicked out, allowing a freebie to start space gliding. Look at the spacing coming out of this Varus, and you will very quickly notice that this fight goes down the drain very, very quickly. What looked to be turnable no longer is. You get the Roskilde TP in, Heathen just drops, and then Sparks left in a 1v1 against a full health Quay. There's not much to be done.
It hurts. It hurts watching that one, because we also know how it turned out later in Rev. As we were watching that, one of the things I did note, again, Spark played out of their mind through some of these early and mid fights, constantly sidestepping. The fact that you went in about midway through into a losing fight trying to save Heathen, and yet you were the last one to die, meant it was free stacking all the way through. Going into that mid game where we started to see some of those fights turn out, I think you guys were talking about a few of those mid game turnarounds. Specifically, I think we have it in a little bit. A specific team fight where things started to take a turn, and a little thing I like to call the execute decided to come online.
Yeah, we were discussing in the grey room, and at some point I hear Sheikah go, "Oh, we've reached critical mass," and at that point I knew. Okay, it was kind of Jover. You were looking at the execute ranges. This was the first fight. You didn't actually go fully front to back, as the Heathen found the flank. Here it is. We look. That's a nice catch. You're killing the jungler, and then at some point there's a Heathen. Nobody touches Spark. You're flapping all over everyone. You cannot touch the little dragon. You don't have the cooldown, because that was of the back of another fight as well. So you've spent all your crucial buttons. So it was getting harder and harder from that point onwards, especially considering that since you had a little bit of a shaky early game, you had given a lot of free space for Lionscreed Academy to scale.
And there was a very notable piece in that fight. If you didn't catch it, there's a reason we were hovering over the stacks. That was a cue to secure the execute off that way. Very heads up play by Spark. And although Venomcrest, with some attempts by Kenji and Bartoldi to finish off this game, trying to catch out Spark on the backside, we were talking about one of the pieces was a 30-minute fight. That was eclipsed, heavily eclipsed by some of these later game team fights that Lionscreed Academy just looked way too good. Call it the Dragon Effect, call it whatever you want. Lionscreed came back with an absolute fury.
They did. It was absolutely terrifying what Lionscreed wrought on the Serpents today. That game was... It looked so close for so long. Suddenly we get to about the 35-40 minute mark, and it seems like there's nothing that can be done. None of these dives are sticking. None of the damage is landing. None of the carries are dying. And you get to a point where you have to start sending this Yone to a side lane. You have to start trying to find a way to end the game without fighting this Smolder, because you can't get to him. But there is a very funny clip slightly before the last fight of the game that I think shows how Venomcrest really can find their way forward, specifically off the back of these playmakers like Kenji. I'm not sure if we have the clip queued, and if we do, I'll run us through it very quickly.
Yeah.
But you
this
see
is our last one. This is it.
The TP flank from Kenji. You immediately hone in on Spark. The flap gets used, and you find a perfect 3-man fate sealed to secure the death of the dragon. Sure, he doesn't die immediately, I don't believe. In fact, no, he does. He just gets blown up, and then Heathen's stuck there as well. That looks like what could be a turning point for the game, right? That looks like that could blow everything out of the water. Then you get Smolder late game, and you're thinking, what do we do?
And I think this goes back to draft. We did call this down a little bit. I think both you, Shika and Rev, are both mentioning this. It did feel like there wasn't that big of a dive, buddy. As soon as you see the Smolder come out, you saw the Lee Sin afterwards, and then there wasn't anything really pieced together. And Shika, you mentioned specifically, it really stuck with me, the glue. Where is the glue? And it was originally for Lionscreed. I want to ask both of you, Shika and Rev. We'll start with you, Shika. Do you think Kenji's Yone was the right pick? We know Kenji can work with it. Do you think it was the appropriate pick in this scenario?
I'm gonna hazard a guess and say, not even hazard a guess, I'm gonna put myself out there. I'm gonna say yes. I don't think there is anything Kenji can take in that situation that will still have the same effectivity of following this Lee Sin's dive, getting onto that backline. Sure, you can take something like the Kennen if you really want to. You're not gonna blow up Smolder as fast. You're not gonna be able to take the dragon out of the fight like we saw in that last clip. It really is a toss-up. I do think the Yone was a very crucial point of Venomcrest staying in that game for so long, and I can't help but wonder if Yone had been in those last couple of fights, maybe, just maybe, we see something that allows them to find a win.
And I think I'm gonna echo on Zeka here, but I'm gonna add, I can't help but wonder if Yone had actually pressured the laning phase, okay? Because you were also saying that on the cast, he was forced into a bad trade, he was ganked, lost his summoner, stayed a little bit behind on XP, never came back to the nice spike of the Berserker Greaves, and got punished time and time again. So what if you actually track Pop? What if you actually give that info, abandon a couple of waves, but still stay at least kind of even with the enemy laner, so you are hitting those spikes early? Because in so many of those mid-game fights, we saw Kenji either missing the Fate Seal, but still being able to harass Spark away. If he had half an item extra, 1-2 components, a completed item spike, maybe all those fights would have turned out differently.
I would hard agree with that. I think, maybe I was a little bit harsher. Circumstances didn't really line up, because we saw at the very end, this entire last fight that occurred was one that if the Yone was ahead, Kenji was actually in a decent spot, it would have turned out differently. We saw Kenji on the bottom side trying to split push for their life, which was very appropriate. And you're basically trying to outpace another one of those situations. You can watch it here. There's a reason that this is a little bit of a catch in a 4v4.
Yeah, I mean, you see Bartoldi try and get that backline dive, right? Can't quite get to Spark, gets hooked away by Heathen. He's already dead. Roskilde, out of position, dead as well. Now it's to a freebie and fast lagged, and you just get pincered. You don't have your other backline diver with you. It's a quadra kill in the end for Spark off the back of these executes. Yone is still trying to fight Cassante on the bot side. You got pushed off of your backdoor attempt. It's at that point you really think, yeah, okay, what went wrong? We were winning fights. Sure, smaller scales, but we were still winning fights. Where did we go wrong? And I genuinely think the answer to that question is not having Yone with you in some of these fights. You get Yone on a flank, you follow Bartoldi, you catch Spark, he's immediately dead, eradicated. That Yone was 3-4 items by the end of the game. A squishy champion like the Dragon, it's not going to last very long.
I could see it. I could 100% see it. Rev, taking a look at this though, what are some of the things that can be taken away by Venomcrest's side into this game number 2? I know, the first thing I think is very obvious, but there has to be more than just don't let Smolder get on the team, right?
I mean, I would cue the middle code screenshot absolute masterclass, because it's an absolute masterclass when the Smolder gets is left open and then it gets picked B1 and never answered. Yeah, I think the Smolder is a huge issue. If that Smolder was not in the equation, you would have found your way back into the game. Your mid game was quite good. You did punish some over-aggression from the side, or overstepping, better to say, from the side of Lionscreed Academy. And if you don't give all that scaling with all of the safety and all of the range and all of the healing, I think it's the same. You just ban the Smolder and run the salty runback.
Just goes.
I don't necessarily agree with that.
Zika's got words. Zika's got words here.
I don't necessarily agree with that.
Oh.
This is good. This was actually plays perfectly into what I want to say. The Smolder is banned, so that's good. He's gone. They first picked Varus, but now, if you look, you've got Bartoldi on something with agency outside of the early game. Lee Sin is an amazing pick if you can play it well, right? You don't snowball, you fall off a cliff. Jarvan at least has that utility past a point where he's just going to be flag and drag Cataclysm bot. How does a mobile champion get out of Cataclysm without blowing flash? The answer is you don't, and Varus is a prime example of that, especially when you lock that down with the Hui. You can get the, whatever the ultimate is called, which I can't remember off the top of my head, down, along with all of your other easy times.
Sparling Despair or something?
That's the one. I thought it was unending despair for a second.
No, it was that sad.
No, that's the
I
end.
didn't
really
know
sad.
the ultimate was that
really sad. But if you can get one of these mobile champions into the baby cage, Hui can just land all of his abilities for free because they can't leave and it's such a small area. It's the same theory as a Vigar.
Oh, yeah, more or less. I agree that. I would say that there are some exceptions. Maybe the Thresh could be one of those where you can kind of punish, but no, we didn't go. And I'm looking right now at the Kalista, and I'm thinking, couldn't we have this last game of Freebie? It was such a nice, especially with the Roam. Especially with the Roam, you could pressure early game so much more. Why are you tilting Zika? Okay, that's not nice. That's rude.
There are some things that just happen with us on the desk here, and that was one of them. Zika looking a little bit sad that we didn't get to see the fun, and now we go right into ban phase number 2. We see Lionscreed once again building up a very hefty front line. The Nautilus and the Poppy locked in this time around. J4 not going to have the greatest time. This time heavier dive, though behind it the Leona and J4 already setting up to combat that dive factor. You still got to ban away the true baby cage. That Vigar not allowed. Lionscreed looking for another angle. Where do you want to focus at this point? Top lane could be a big one, but you did answer, I think, Kenji, very nicely. You still got to give credit where credit is due. That Yone needs to be taken away.
I actually quite like the Vigar ban because of how well it pairs up with Poppy. You just get punted into a wall with Heroic Charge, and, well, there's not much you can do about that because you're stunned, you're going to take full combo to the face, you're going to die. I'm not a big fan of the Leona, though, I will say that. The Kalista kind of have me umming and ahhing because you've just seen Poppy lock in and you're in the Poppy Nautilus Varus as a Kalista. It doesn't sound very fun. There's a lot of ways to just kind of stop you from playing the game. The Leona I hate even more Because again, you're into Poppy Nautilus. Sure, you can lock down the Varus, but you've already got a good bit of lockdown, and Leona's not in a great spot at the moment. She's kind of tapered off in favor of things like the Rel, so I'm not 100% sure that it's going to be played to full effect here. I'm definitely concerned for the bot lane power. If this gets locked in, we're looking at one of the oldest power pick lanes in the book, but it's also a big ego lane. Draven Leona, one of the strongest lanes known to man, as I'm sure you've experienced Draven Leona a number of times. The sheer power of a level 2 Draven Leona flying at your face as a Varus, you can't combat it. This is one of the best level 2s in the game. In fact, it's one of the best level 1s in the game if Leona's willing to commit flash.
That's what I was gonna say. Level 1s, even without the flash, if you go for the E, play with an Aftershock, the Aftershock deals damage as well. You proc your extra passive damage with the Draven. The only thing that you need is for the Draven to carry 2 axes. As long as he has 2 axes, you can eviscerate the enemy or at least blow a couple of their summoners away. Now, the Leona, yes, it is in a little bit of a weird spot meta-wise, but it was the OG counter to Nautilus. It's more of an even lane nowadays. Thank you for that, Core JJ, but it's still one of the OGs. Now, I'd like to see the Malphite going through, because even though you do have a little bit of an AP damage on the other side, all those carries are immobile and they either blow flash or they blow out the color of their screen for the next few seconds. But the Aatrox is being locked blind as, I guess, a little bit of a more safe pick for the top side.
Oh, we're rounding some stuff out, and it ends on the Renekton, so this makes a lot of sense.
I'm not cringing over drafts today.
We are, and there was a moment where I was very excited. So I personally love aggression in the top side. I will always love it, especially with how Kenji and Bus have been playing. This is now an older matchup, but I will say I would have liked to see Kenji's a little bit more signature piece. You know, the Renekton is understood. Let's have a little bit of fun. At this point, you do need that little special something to come out here. With the drafts locked in, though, final thoughts here, Rev. Is this strat pretty good for Venomcrest? Do you feel it's better, or do you think it's still about the same? What do you think?
Well, I feel like they have a little bit of more safe game, although they have taken a gambit in the bottom side. The Draven is known to fall off later in the game versus any kind of Varus, honestly. You are either getting outranged by miles or you're getting out DPS'd. It's really hard for you to do something if you're not collecting some cash outs earlier in the game. I am a little bit concerned about the Ahri because she will need to create situations on her own. There's no great lockdown, easy crowd control from the rest of their team. I don't think that the Nautilus will be initiating shenanigans in the mid lane, so you are really waiting for the Ahri to hit those charms so that the Poppy can gap close and then try to threaten situations. But you are trying to hit those charms on immobile champions who can then never answer. Even if you miss those charms, you just spirit dash away and say toodles.
Just very quickly, this matchup isn't as bad as it first comes across. Draven has a very good early game. Draven has an insanely good, full build late game. He will still one-shot Varus, whether Varus is full build or not. Your mid game is where you kind of dip if you haven't found that lead. But if they can find this lead, he's good at every stage and will be better than Varus at every stage of the game. My concern is there's a lot of ways to lock him down. You've got Aatrox sweet spots. You've got Poppy dashing him into a wall. You've got the Ahri charms. There is no cleanse being run from what I could tell. So this Draven is going to be very, very vulnerable. It requires a lot of good peeling. But a freebie has shown to be one of our most mechanical AD carries in the league. I think if anybody's going to be able to pull this off, as is necessary to win this game and take us to a game 3, it will be him.
I like the fact that the Draven has to pull a spark to be able to pull off Draven things. That's what we're really looking at right now. Let's go ahead and go into game because it's going to be very exciting. Excited to see if Lionscreed will go ahead and take a 2-0, a dominate to go ahead and move into the grand finals, or if we are going to see a game 3, if we're going to see Venomcrest bite back and say, hey, we beat you once, we will do it again. If that is true, though, in the same vein for Lionscreed, they will be running strong. Let's go ahead, go over to the casters, and let's see how this game 2 breaks down. Shibby's thoughts as well will be quite fun. Shibby, what you thinking about right now when you see these comps lay out and you see the smolder not allowed to go through?
30 seconds until minions spawn.
Oh, hello? Hello? Can we hear me? There we go.
Did we
My
not
bad.
hear Shimmy that whole time? I was speaking
No.
into the void. I was
No. TLDR, the chips are on a freebies table. He's got to get snowballing early. He's got to get the Essence Reaver. He's going to go Sheen into Serrated Dirk. He's going to look to put his whole fist through Lionscreed Academy very, very early on this game.
Oh my god, I love the fact that I love the fact that we imported both myself and Shimmy, and both of us don't know how to unmute our mics at points. Oh man, this is great. Listen, welcome to NA. Alright, let's go ahead and get into this though. This is I do want to point out, I believe Zika and Reb touched on it a little bit. QQR on the Ari, I don't think the Syndra would have been bad in this situation either, so I'm surprised that you opt to swap things up. I'm interested to see how this plays out.
I mean, I do kind of love the mobility / reset comp, kind of like the reset components that Lionscreed has, right? With the Aatrox, with the Ahri. You can kind of start steamrolling a fight as soon as you get that first pick, as we see a freebie and Fast Legged just trying to assert their dominance right now. The thing is, Pop on this Poppy is very good at, like, isolating out targets, right? So, like, if Bartholdi goes in, or if Kenji tries to dash in, right? Or even Fast Legged on this Leona, she can put up the Steadfast Presence. She throws that W on. It immediately roots them. She can get the hammer going, give you that man advantage in these team fights, whether it's a 4v5 or a 5v3, that kind of stuff. And all QQR and Bust have to do is find that target that's CC'd, kill them, and start steamrolling the fights over, right? Increased or resets on the dash for Ahri, resets on the ultimate, right, or extending the duration of the Aatrox ultimate allows them to run through these fights. So I like the composition that Lionscreed has actually drafted. It's a very shrewd comp that'll be way effective later into the game when Venomcrest is looking for these hard engages, right, with the Jarvan, with the Renekton.
Oh wow. And it's already starting Baltoldi. Not noticing that Pop is on the top side. They're just going to hard commit for this, but they have to call it off now. Phoebe's in a dangerous spot. Fast Legged flashing away in the spot lane. You talked about it. You said it was shoot. It truly is. First Summoner spell going the way of Lionscreed Academy.
Yep. And right now, LCA, all they have to do is just kind of figure out where Bartholdi is and track him, right? As long as Pop is relatively around the same area, eventually Jarvan's just not going to get any value out, and come these team fights, come around maybe like this Dragon potentially, or if Lionscreed wants to wait until they hit level 6 to get those resets off, it's going to be very difficult for Venomcrest to try to do anything against this composition. Spark is on the what looks like the lethality version of Varus, rather than that on hit that we saw last game. He can outrange most of this team, and it's going to be really nice because he'll be safe and sound behind this Poppy, behind this Nautilus, just pelting away. And eventually, when somebody on Venomcrest side is low enough, Ahri and Aatrox are just going to go in, get the reset, and start going crazy in these fights. I really, like I said, I'm really, really like Lionscreed's composition. Venomcrest have to play very, very aggressive here so they don't fall down come later these team fights.
It's also something that we didn't see them do in game number 1. We were talking about the composition, that the Lee Sin is strong in the early game. Everything was kind of in Bartholdi's pockets. The fact that they opted for it game number 2 as well, they play as quiet as before. Yes, it might not be as punishing as game 1's comp. It's still going to feel bad. I love the fact that you pointed out that we want to see aggression. We want to see this fight come out from the opposing team, and we want to see these players really step up like this. He's even trying to flash away, but you can't flash away from the axes. That's first blood over to a Draven, and of all things, a freebie. Get the first blood, extra stacks, a hell of a lot of gold.
Yeah, he's going to come back and this lane's over. For Spark and Ethan, I hate to be the doomer here, but a top lane gank, Kenji, is going to be able to walk out.
Repeat number 2. Kenji again lives, but this time around, again, this is Venomcrest chilling and saying, yo, you can repeat game number 1. However, this time around, our bot lane's a little bit more in control.
Yeah, a freebie really wants to kind of back here, though. Right? He's sitting on a ton of gold right now, probably enough for Sheen plus Dirk, I'm going to assume. This Pop is just going to concede these grubs over, and that's going to give a freebie and Fast Legged a little bit more room to play with against these. Wait a minute, there might be a pick coming. Our skill day's on the wrong side.
That's very dangerous. Pop, though, trying to run interference. That's going to be a flag and Shrek. EQR, though, not sure where they want to be. Bust trying to dash in. That's a flash. And then snipe from upside as Bartoldi tries to flash away, but the auto effects are doing work. This is chasing the enemy territory, but you still get it. Level 6 with a reset. Kenji can't follow up. What dire straits. What a stroke of luck. What an outplay from QQR.
You may call it luck, I call it skill calculated from Lionscreed Academy. That last dash coming in, and they're not done.
Oh,
Roskilde. Roskilde.
Oh! You live! Pop, no minions! Oh! It's an XU, though! Pop will take it! 3-1 or 2-1? 2-1 to Lionscreed Academy!
What a beautiful, beautiful play coming out from Lionscreed. Their top side using their early advantage to the utmost efficiency here. I mean, QQR on the Ari, just sneaking out at the last second. Pop getting the kill, then executed. Bust ended up getting 2 kills on this Aatrox. It's going to make it really rough for Kenji to kind of fight this right now. He's already locked in the steel-plated boots, and we talked about a freebie getting that back off of that kill. Orbital, take a peek at his items real quick as we get the replay first. Roskilde on the wrong side of this fight, just trying to guarantee the grubs here. QQR and Pop just slowly but surely waiting this fight out, and Bust is doing big damage on that backside here. Just look at QQR. It goes down to the sliver. The moment he gets the kill, immediately dashes out, and Kenji is slamming his keyboard right now. Beautiful, beautiful play from Lionscreed there to just eke out the advantages at the most slimmest of margins. But I did want to take a look at a freebie's items. The man came back with BF Sword and a Vamp Scepter. Spark hates his life right now. Spark hates his life.
And for those that don't know how much gold that is, a BS Sword is 1,300. A Vamp, I'm pretty sure, is 850 or 900. That's about a 2,100 gold purchase that you just casually drop by for. It's why we were hyping up this kill so much, and Spark is crying. It's also lethality there, so a little bit of an earlier spike. You're hoping to land a lot of those arrows and really do chunks.
Yeah.
The problem is that is negated by a lot of what a freebie likes, so it doubles down. Not only is your laning kind of cut away, Spark also hates the fact that none of your damage is really going to stick unless the rest of the team is here to help out, finish off the extra damage. Everything on this bot side leaning into Venomcrest wave, but LCA are starting to build their containment in the upper side. It's the question of when will Venomcrest break away from this bot lane and send a freebie to do Draven things.
I mean, you also have to realize that Draven isn't the most mobile of champions, right? Yeah, he's got flash. He's got the ability to get some move speed off of his W there. But realistically, Bust and QQR are going to be a problem, right? If they hit a flank, if Ari just dashes in, there's not much a freebie can do. He has the cleanse to kind of ideally use that either on the Ari charm or the Chain of Corruptions. But after that, what's going to stop a charging Aatrox running into your face, right? Who's already 2-0-1, who's life stealing out, and they're going to look for this gank here.
This is what you were talking about. The CC chain is good. However, the dive underneath is even better. Fast Legged running a lot of interference. Will die, but it's only one so far. But totally on the other side. QQR coming around to help finish it off. Spark not going to die. It's a pickup for QQR with these dashes. Is already getting so much mileage. Jason, Charm side step Roskilde. Looking for a claw. Not going to find it. A couple more auto attacks would do it. Pop now chasing in. A freebie very low. Roskilde trying to run away. Should have another speed up with that WQ. But that's going to be the hammer of justice to take your life. QQR looking like a menace. A freebie now going to get dove. I'm not sure how far you want to go and give a freebie another kill. It's still enough. 2 more kills easily for the side of LCA.
QQR just using that mobility on that Ari, punishing the overstay, let's say, from Venomcrest. Like that, Malignance already completed for them, right? 10 minutes in, he's got the first legendary item. Opportunity as well on Spark. You mentioned the early power spike. Well, if you give a kill over, if you give some assists, that Draven that got that initial kill is going to be not so happy. As we see, it starts off with a dive from Venomcrest. You'd love to see one of these kills, right? You'd love to get that over to a freebie's hand, but because it's so disjointed, because the tanking isn't as clean, and the rest of Venomcrest can't actually help out Bartoldi in the jungle, LCA is just allowed to clean up and pick up the pieces. I like that Pop used the minion on the Poppy to E in and get into range. beautiful stun, and it just allows the rest of Lionscreed to clean that up. And a freebie, man. If he gets another kill there, he's probably on a full item. But unfortunately, he got that assist, and they end up trading what is like, what, 1 for 3?
It was rough. It was rough. And main thing is this gold is now situated actually into QQR's hands, which now means you have some favor. How is Spark now getting pitched on both sides, but totally really looking towards nice little sidestep, and you also sidestep the knockup, but you're still kind of dead. You have no summoner spells, and just like a freebie is pretty immobile, maybe a little bit fast. So is Spark on this Averus. Heathen trying to run interference, trying to get away from Bartoldi, who actually uses the Cataclysm. I'm not sure you actually get this kill. It's actually bidding a lot of time for QQR to come on down. Remember, QQR has the Malignance already set. Can't jump over the wall, but it is being read by Fast-Legged and a freebie. Very nice shot. Howard TP's coming in, and a TP in response. Bust as well as Kenji going to join the fray. It's a double knockup to eat. And all of a sudden, Bust did not want anything to do right there. The Renekton jumps away. QQR doesn't have another dash, and you are dead. Here comes a turnaround, though. What a fear coming out here. Spark trying to stay alive, but you don't. What a disaster for LCA. Venomcrest come down. They crest the mound and say thank you very much. It is 4 for 1 as LCA wanted that fight.
Just a very confusing decision from Lionscreed, right? You're not going to get the advantage with the TP because Kenji's able to match it. And so Bust is locked into that TP, guys. You can't cancel it anymore. It's been a while since you could cancel it. So he's locked in. The rest of Venomcrest are like, this guy's by himself. We'll CC chain him. He doesn't even get to use the flash to get out. Spark is late to the fight. And Pop and QQR just cannot follow up. Very good from Venomcrest to isolate the individual members from Lionscreed Academy and just pick them off one by one. Very, very confusing decision because they didn't have the man advantage. Spark goes down super early here. Why is the call from Lionscreed to then TP into what is at best a 5v4? Right? Like you speed up 3, Bartoldi's going in. He's almost kind of destroying Heathen's health bar. You can't come in here, and it's just very, very confusing from Lionscreed, right? I'm failed to see the vision. TP gets channeled, man advantage. It's a 4v3 right now. Five members will eventually come in, and look how easily everybody goes down here. Spark has just come back just to be sent back to the fountain.
It hurts. It really, really hurts. They're Pop trying to do their best, but I gotta agree. It was a call difference, and keep in mind, this actually happened before as well. Lionscreed actually did this in game number 1, where they got a little bit over-aggressive. That chain of events that happened about 60 minutes in game number 1, about the same situation. They got a little bit over-aggressive. They said, hey, we got the kills. Maybe we can get the dubs. They overestimated their own damage output and put themselves a little bit on the back foot for a time. I don't want to say it was all the time, but this time around, it's felt a lot more. 2 Dragons, once again, to Venomcrest's favor without a single one dolloped over to Lionscreed. But 7 kill difference with a 1k lead. Venomcrest are so happy because that 1k lead is also very much shown in a freebies pockets 2, 0, and 3. Item and a half and then some. So this bot side Spark and Heathen literally can't step up to the wave.
Yeah, but as we learned in game 1, dragons don't matter. They're Venomcrest. They don't. If they're on soul point, they don't care. They won't finish it. I'm still salty about it, Orbital, but regardless, Venomcrest in a very prime position to accelerate themselves into what should be a 23 to 24 minute Ocean Soul. Not as game ending as something like the Infernal or potentially the Hex deck, but still very, very good, especially for a team that has Kenji on this Renekton, that has a freebie building a little bit of lifesteal. It might just be the difference maker if they're allowed to get Ocean Soul and Teamfight in. Because now the pick onto Fast-Legged here.
Flash away. Looks like you're safe because a freebie. That's crazy,
So
by
tanky.
the way.
So
A
tanky.
freebie and Fast-Legged able to force off 3 with Fast-Legged not really having anything else in the pocket. That's crazy to me. I don't care what anyone says. A freebie is a monster in their own right now. That is rude. Bartoldi's sitting inside of the Baron pit, just chilling with the Herald in the hand. And you're safe. This is Venomcrest playing at a fairly better pace and in a much better position than game number 1.
Yeah, and they don't have to worry about like infinite the scaling Smolder, right? There's not like an egg timer necessarily on the side of Venomcrest where it's like, oh, it's 22 minutes, time for Smolder to just end the game or warp it, everything around. It's going to take a lot more effort from Lionscreed consistently, right? Fight after fight for them to look for some of these picks, and you've got to look for the pick composition here, right? It's Chain of Corruption into the Ari pick, into what is, potentially a reset. And if they can't find that, like they couldn't find it on Fast Leg, yeah, they forced the flash out. Realistically, they've got to be landing a lot of that pick potential onto a freebie, onto Roskilde to get the fights going here. Venomcrest are in a very good position right now to kind of muscle their way in onto these objectives into the jungle of Lionscreed. Lionscreed can't really do much about it unless they find someone overstepping their boundaries on Venomcrest's side.
Which they have found every so often. It's not like Venomcrest have been perfect by any stretch of the imagination. I'm interested to see how the next few minutes go, because I'm curious to see if it will turn into a game of who makes the bigger mistake and then who responds in the bigger mistake. Venomcrest not making a mistake in the bot side push. Bartoli already setting up with that Herald, and they're going to try and push down another extra tower. We'll keep eyes and see how much you actually get out of that, as QQR getting Hextech Flash on. Heathen is here to run interference. You go ahead and get about half. Keep eyes on the TP, though. This is a collapse. It is spotted. Another TP, double TP, and then some. Everyone getting in on the mix and bust. A little bit stronger this time, but still not that tanky. You're just sliced and diced. You're just dead on TP. That's going to be the Cataclysm to keep Heathen stuck in position. Kill not handed over, as Keeper Zerdic will do literally nothing. You get nothing. You lose that one. 2 dead on Lionscreed Academy's side, as Venomcrest literally get everything they could ever want.
2 times in a row, Bust has TP'd into his death. Like, Venomcrest is doing a good job just killing him immediately, right? And Lionscreed, if you see your guy TPing on the top side, you've got to go, right? You've got to go as quick as possible, because you have to be able to support this flank. He's Aatrox, he's not Cassante, he's not Mundo, he's not Cyan. He can't tank 5 members for more than a couple seconds, right? Like Pop, QQR, Spark, and Heathen gotta be there ready to kind of use that pincer maneuver that they're trying to go for. Venomcrest are just taking advantage of bad Lionscreed TPs. 2 times in a row, both times they've lost the fight off of what is either a bust overcommit or just a bad read from Lionscreed, thinking they can help bust out when they're not nearly in position.
And it's given such a stranglehold to Venomcrest. The fact that right now, LCA are lucky that the kills aren't being handed a freebie's way. They are so fortunate that those TPs have not granted a freebie even more gold. By all rights, it should be. A freebie should have an extra lockdown on that extra gold and be miles ahead, which in that same vein, you're still pretty dang strong. But it's still just very questionable. I gotta agree. Lionscreed Academy, question marks abound on these TP calls and why they are calling them, as they're now looking to try and take the trick. It is Chemtech Dragon to be taken, so not amazing power behind it. Still, you want to get it taken care of. Bartoli, though, says, hey, this is how you call a flank. You are going to get forced out. You're actually saved because the Keeper's Verdict, but no one else on the team wants to try and fight it out. Venomcrest may or may not be looking for this bust already going into the World Ender, but you got more than you could want. Charmin's going to land. Cleanse is brought out. A freebie. Now allowed to free hit. Chunk doesn't matter as Roskilde gets the kill. It is going to be free fire from Spark on the Xerxes, but how much more can you get? In comes Bartoli, who's now back at about half health, lands right in front of this QQR. Dragon taken down to about 2k. Can you get the smite in? I don't think you're able to. Smite goes the way of Bartoli, and now they're going to try and fight again. Very nice hold on the steadfast presence, but Spark is almost low. A freebie wants to kill. Get the reset. Yes, you do. Killing spree for a freebie. Pick up a few more on the back end. QQR, nothing in the bank. Kenji to slow him down. Snipe from downtown. It's a triple for a freebie.
Venomcrest just taking the dragon, and like you said, Lionscreed, they saved Bartoli in that fight, and you don't have enough juice anymore, right? QQR can't get resets, Bust can't get resets. You've got to leave. Why watch the dragon be taken because you've lost all priority on it? I know they were trying to go for like a hook charm combo onto a freebie, but he's just been playing really well on this Draven, dodging out the abilities, playing the leash range game so expertly. Looking at this replay, right, starting off the fight, yes. Bartoli gets a nice flag and drag into ultimate combo, and then you just ult him away? How do you expect to win this fight now? How do you expect your ulting Ari, your ulting Aatrox to start resetting and steamrolling the fight if the lowest HP member of the team has just been booted halfway back across the Summoner's Rift? They get the kill, but it's not enough, right? It's already too late here. And now the idea is, okay, we can poke them out. We can maybe look for a pick here. But as the dragon slowly and slowly, ever so slowly going down, you put yourself at more and more risk here. They walk up a little too
Oh my
far.
God.
Steadfast Presence gets used, but Roskilde on the flash way binds him back, and Spark just goes down, and Afribi's able to get the kill. And now Afribi gets another one onto Pop. That's the Baron call. Your jungler is dead, Lionscreed.
It's going to continue. A freebie fully doing Draven things out. They're still going to fight. All 4 members of Lionscreed are going to give this their shot, but they just flank into the other side. Yes, to the backside. Spark is going to find the kill. How many more can you get? The free fire is there, but it's not enough. God tier is a freebie. As down everyone goes, Venomcrest bite away, and the poison melts through LCA. Shot from the sky as the lightning bolt claims another. And Roskilde at 4, 3, and 7 will sacrifice their life to give one more kill to a freebie. Axe to the back of the head. A freebie is legendary. Venomcrest gather everything that they can want, and they'll turn to Baron.
This is how we expected the game to go for Venomcrest, right? Draven, Leona, and Draven doing Draven things. A one-man army on these double axes. Turn back towards the Baron. The TP comes in from Kanji. 808. IE Essence Reaver, shield bow in hand. And the man's gonna back orbital. He's gonna pick up another item. Pop's not done. LCA want more?
They want blood. They want payment, and a freebie will go down. Shut down to Pop, but Bartoli gets out. And honestly, yes, Draven goes out. You got all your gold. You don't give a crap.
I apologize, Afribi. That was the most blatant caster curse I've ever done. Almost instantly, right after, by the way. Because now they're going to go for more. If Freebie's down, they feel like they can fight.
I think it's fair to say they absolutely can. They're going to try and melt people one by one. Bust running up and saying, you are busted. You're not allowed to get more. Huge shutdowns all the way through. Venomcrest pay the price of their 2 carries, but still got Baron on 3, as well as a massive gold influx. 4 items now, a full item ahead of most of the members, 2 ahead on anyone's most on LCA. That is 13,000 gold. When LCA, there's only one player on in Spark that has passed 9k gold. I would just like to point that out.
Yeah, the man is single-handedly the strongest member on Summoner's Rift here, and Pop, unfortunately, gonna have to burn that flash. Was caught out. A little bit of a misplay, a little bit of an overstay, but Venomcrest, now that a freebie's back on the map, now that Zaddy is back on the map, they're able to come in and take the rest of mid lane.
This is smelling like a game 3. I'm smelling it right now, Shibby. This is Venomcrest want to ensure that they push the mileage on this series. Pop is trying to get something here in the jungle, but you have Venomcrest only for a moment as you are just deleted. There ain't no Poppy in the game. That's going to be the catalyst that draw him into the fight. Out goes the Whirling Death. Double kill for a freebie. You drop the axis, so you can't really continue. But those are your tanks. That was a Nautilus and a Poppy that were obliterated.
I'll use the word tanks lightly because a freebie shredded through them like butter, like just absolute butter. A freebie is a machine right now, and you look at Venomcrest here. They're gonna be able to take that Chemtech soul for themselves. Now it's become twice as hard to kill these guys. Once they hit under 50% HP, it's 11% harder to kill them, and 11% more damage getting thrown in your face. This pick composition that Lionscreed has crafted for themselves, this is probably one of the worst Drakes that they could have rolled, right? Other than maybe Mountain Soul would have been the other one because it gives the shield and the armor resist. Making Venomcrest a little bit harder to kill is just so anti-Lionscreed Academy's composition. They've got to look for picks, and they've got to kill them quickly. Because the moment Venomcrest is allowed to regroup, rally around their member that has gotten caught out, It's game over. Venomcrest is going to steamroll them over. As you see, the gold right now, 43 nearly for Lionscreed to 50,000 for Venomcrest. It's a 7,000, almost 8,000 gold lead, sorry, for VNC right now. And I'm sure they're confident enough to just walk into mid lane, or they can side lane. You go to 1-3-1. The world is their oyster right now because Lionscreed's on the back foot.
I would love to see the gold graph of this game. Like, this is one of those games.
I know what it is.
Seeing the gold graph in this game would be hilarious to me. Just like, and we're quiet, and we're quiet. Oh, got a kill on a freebie. Oh, got a few more kills on a freebie.
Yeah.
That's
I just
what
want to see a freebies gold graph. Nobody else is just a freebies.
It'd be great. Right now, they're going to try and check it out. Great charm over the wall, but it still doesn't matter. The cleanse was there. Dogpile on a freebie. You're still freaking alive. A freebie doesn't have to dodge, doesn't have to sidestep. Man's up and shuts them down. 3 dead spark follows. It's 4 gone as QQs their way to their own fountain.
A freebie simply standing on business there. Just doesn't need to move. Chemtech Soul allows him to survive all the damage here. And Venomcrest, after a close game 1 loss, immediately come back with a heavyweight counterpunch orbital. 27 minutes into the game, they're going to look to end this. Are they actually going to be able to end this?
Don't doubt Venomcrest. Don't you dare doubt the man mode composition they have built. The one stand on top. Venomcrest take game number
13-1-8 on a freebie, by the way.
Jesus.
Just a one-man army. A one-man army on this guy. Draven Leona just slamming what should have been your priority lane in this Varus, in this Nautilus. Taking the pants one leg at a time, putting the backpack on, saying, Venomcrest, get on in. I'm going to take you to grand finals, whether you like it or not. It's like when your parents take you to the doctor. You got to go whether you like it or not. A freebie's willing his team to grand finals right now.
I loved every single moment of it, and it cannot be understated. Lionscreed, we saw where they wanted to go, but man, some of those calls we had to call into question. We have to sit there and be honest. It did not work out the way they wanted to. We are going to go to a quick break. When we come back, we will try and dissect that type of gameplay and see what's going on with our analysts later on. Please don't go anywhere. The UKEL4 Nations will be back in just a bit. that was a turnaround game of turnaround games, all because of a few select champions I wouldn't know what is. We are back here on the desk to talk about that game. Rev, Zika, I mean, if we talked about Smolder Game 1, there's another champion that loves to dominate games here. The Draven was just a wee bit too strong.
Yeah, Weebit's not that word, I think, Orbital, honestly, because he was a strong boy. He was flexing the muscles. He was not even cutting, he was bulking. Look at that damage. Look at that gold. It's 8k more than the second person in the game. And I just want to ask, where was that champion when you actually needed to dominate the early game?
Lying
I'm
in a
not
ditch.
sure. Zika's still calling it out over there. What was going on in the back rooms there? Because it was like, you were even mentioning it. It felt like it just got out of control. And after about 19 minutes, you're just like, it's over.
Yeah, we don't... So, to preface this, we don't like saying a game is over, right? We want to advocate for both teams. But sometimes, a game is just over. It's just done. There's not much you can do. Like, you are relying on the enemy to make a massive mistake in order for this game to go your way. And while it did look like there was some signs of hope, there were moments where we were like, Lionscreed could still turn this around. It was soul fight, I think, for me, was that kind of final nail in the coffin. Sure, from like 19 minutes, I was like, yeah, okay, this game's really hard. From soul, the game's done. Like, it's very, very hard at that point because you just have the enemy comp run at you, and this Draven doesn't die. Period. It's a very it's a good showing of what Venomcrest can do on a good day when they're not against Smolder, but it makes me worry for game 3.
I think it's too real of what you just said there. It was very much at the end, a stand and deliver from a few, but it all started at the first blood. We saw this first blood go down in Rev. I think we got a replay of it. Walk us through this first blood, because it didn't have amazing impact, but it had some indirect consequences.
I mean, I don't think it was really indirect because the rest of the map was kind of losing, but now the Hayden, he miscalculated. He thought, hey, we have that huge wave, we have that all that crowd control. I never saw them being on the same page with Spark. Zika,
I think Zika just saw how much gold was given over
You remember
in
how
that
we
first
were
kill.
saying it was only about 70 stacks? That was 238 gold!
Yeah, it was. And early on in the game that matters a lot, especially when you consider that the Draven could also then pick and choose what you want to do with the wave. Do you want to crush 3 waves and recall and come back to chill? That's fine, you get more gold. You want to set up a freeze. The Varus will never be able to auto-attack any minion because it's an immobile champion. You have Leona with all your summers up. So it's really hard from that point onwards to actually play the bottom lane, and you're kind of relying on the mercy and the mistakes that your opponents can make. And that's a huge big red triangle of warning for the side of Lionscreed, because the rest of the early game was going smooth sailing for them, but this is the first nail in their coffin.
I think it really became exasperated later on as well. We saw some scrappiness and some interesting plays happen, but the main one that stood out, I think, to us was back-to-back dives that came out from Venomcrest's side itself, and it showed the duality of what they can do. Zika, walk us through this, because these two you specifically pointed out really showed us what could happen. First one was about 9 minutes into the game.
Yes, this was about 9 minutes, and you see a freebie has to blow cleanse and flash away, and now can't really step forward again. Sure, Heathen dies, but Spark's untouched and QQR has finally arrived. QQR can clean this fight up. Porp's on the way now as well. QQR still has resets, can just stop Roskilde from running away. A freebie really can't do anything. There's not enough health, not enough mana. You drop an axe, your damage goes down the drain, and you can see it here. Autos are flying at the Poppy's face, it's not enough. But not even 2 minutes later, we see the fight above the tower. Initially, Spark gets caught just by on this wall, and QQR walks down. Now the TP's come in, and the CC just gets landed. Bust is immediately blown up. QQR is next on the list, and that's 2 shutdowns, 1 to a freebie, 1 to Kenji. Now the game is looking hard, and Spark walks straight into the face of Fastlegs again, has only just respawned and returned, mind you, and gets killed off rip. Now it's sure, you managed to get one more kill for your troubles, but you're losing so much through trying to overplay this fight. And while sure, the last dive, it went really, really well for you as Lionscreed, Spark has just been caught. You can tell Venomcrest are on their way out. You don't have to TP to anything here. You don't have to commit, because if it all goes back end up, you're suddenly so much further in a ditch.
It's too real. I have to sit here and say it was one of those moments where we all were left scratching. I think even Shibby was a little bit lost on what occurred there, and it was a painful reminder of what can happen. And Venomcrest took absolute control. It culminated, I think, into a dragon fight scenario where it felt like, hey, pens are down, mouse is down, everything kind of hands off. At that point, we saw Venomcrest really taking control of Rev. This is like that final nail in the coffin that you were talking about. First was the first nail, second, third, this is the final.
Yeah, and this was actually huge. From the Jarvan, he found that angle, Bartholu, he was there, and it's up to Bast. Okay, Bast, if he finds those sweet spots, if he's able to sustain, if he's able to crowd control, it's excellent. But he never does. And even though he sustains a little bit, even though it's a trade 1-for-1, the Draven's untouched, the Hui is still there, half HP, he's able to use his snipes time and time again, use all that space control, and you can never walk up. This moment one axe touches your face, it's gonna be clean shaven, and I'm not talking about facial hair, I'm talking about your neck.
It was a bullying moment. I believe this was I think this was a quadra or a triple. I don't remember which, but it was
a triple kill.
It was such, okay, so it was a triple, and it was just a massive influx of gold that we just, it really was that moment where we're just looking at it going, what the heck happened? And we don't have the replay, I didn't want to pull this up, but I just want to say, when an ADC can quite literally stare down an enemy team at the end of the game and just watch you try and hit him, and he does nothing but auto attack, that is when you know things might have gone belly up. And I give a lot of credit over to Venomcrest's side. Very impressive job at the end of the day to close it out.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's not even just that, like, you were seeing all of this CC land onto the Draven at the end of the game. It wasn't enough. He still sustained through it. He still didn't die. And it just ended the game off that one push because you've committed so many resources to try and kill this Draven. The rest of the team is completely untouched. Your health bar melts.
It was painful, and I mean, that exemplifies two amazing carries in the bottom lane. We were talking about top and jungle, we're talking about other areas, and all of a sudden it's still bot lane, right? Spark as well as a freebie. We're looking great. We have to compare game 1 versus game 2, the Smolder versus the Draven, and this is what we see here. Just keep it in mind, both of them. Phenomenal games, but Draven did it in like 10 less minutes or something?
Yeah, and I'm not sure if we should be comparing those. Okay, first of all, it's 10 more minutes. Second of all, it's the Schmolda. I'm not. It's a cheat code. Okay, you're allowed 30 minutes into the game. You are given, I don't know, if you've ever bowled those little walls on the side, so that you can never miss. you never miss. It's the same thing. On the other hand, you're picking Draven. Everyone thinks, oh, it's the easy champion. You just deal, I don't know how much damage early in the game. No, it's a really mechanical champion. It really exemplifies how you need to play as an ADC, how to space the enemy, how to use your cooldowns properly so you can dish as much damage as possible. And Afrebi actually carried the game almost by himself, to be honest with you. So I don't know if we can compare it, especially when we look at Spark's performance in game 2, and from minute 9 onwards, he looked like he was going on autopilot, like clicking on the map, not thinking, why should I go there, if he should go there. And that I'm gonna bring back to memory that replay where it starts right after his first death, he comes back into the fear, into a second death, back to back.
I think, for me, this just exemplifies what playing around these carries can do, right? Like, sure, Spark didn't really get as many resources in that second game as the Varus, right? Going for lethality, you're not really going to do the same thing a traditional AD carry does, and you're not going to get the resources off the back of that. But in game 1, the resources were given to him, and we saw what can be done. Whether it was on Smolder or not is another story. There are situations where you can pilot a Smolder really badly and still not do very well. I don't disagree that he may have gone on autopilot, but I think it just shows, if these carries are played around, if they're given the right conditions, they can thrive. And we've been talking a lot about this top lane matchup, as we mentioned. that we've kind of neglected that idea that these AD carries are both very, very skilled players. They can be the reason that you will win a game. And I think that these stats in front of us show that to a T.
I gotta agree with both ends. Different games, but same underlying message that we're seeing there. If you want to give your carries, let them carry. Looking into game number 3, I expect some changes here again. But one thing that we did expect them to do that wasn't going to change is we are on the same sides. Venomcrest had opted for red side in game number 2. This time around, LCA, Lionscreed Academy say we still want blue, and I think it's very fair. You look at that blue side, you get a little bit of power pick potential. You're still opting into a situation where top side might not be as strong, but Bus has been doing a phenomenal job, in my opinion, of at points in laning phase, holding their own as they need to. Some of the calls, maybe you follow through and you get thrown to the wolves a little bit. In game number 3, what are we kind of looking at here? We'll start with you, Jika. What do you want to see here? As again, this is LCA's side selection. What are we going to be looking for?
I want to see this volley bag get through. It is LCA that are banning it. If they leave it open, by banning it, you're saying, look, we don't play this. But the champion is so insanely strong at the moment that you can trade off the Smolder ban, not have to ban the Volibear. You either say, Venomcrest, you ban it from us, or we're going to have this power pick. With the Smolder gone, it is a very, very strong pick that I have no doubt Porp can have effect on, because it's exactly how Porp likes to play. It's one of these more facilitative junglers that has very good map pressure, has very good objective control, has very good grub clear, and is able to really exemplify what your team is good at.
I mean, we could see it. For right now, bans are pretty much the exact same. Gotta ban those for Talia, Ashe, as well as the Corki Karma. These are the standards. And, ooh. Okay, so there's a shit up. Not the Volibear, but also not a Draven or anything of the like. It's the Hui. Roskilde finally gonna have to play something different, and there's a Smolder still in response to game number 1.
Yeah, I really like this adaptation. There is a Volibear, there is a lockdown. It's still, it is extremely strong. I'm not sure if it's the Panakia for everything. I love to not see the Varus here. Okay, a freebie, you can space glide into infinity, you can go attack speed, but no, take something that can just answer the Volibear. Go for the Nocturne maybe, avoid the Volibear and play into his backline, play for, I don't know, the Poppy. But there's a Varus lock-in. I am disappointed, but as I told Zika in the green room, if anyone's gonna carry this, it's him. He's the dog. You can call him a freebie. He should do it.
I think I can get behind that a little bit. I will say so far, though, Varus technically has a 0% win rate here in the series. So, you know, we'll let that ride as it is. Someone's going to yell at me that in the green room. That is going to be the Gragas, though, locked in there. Have a little bit of fun. Great disengage if you are going to try and throw the Volibear a little bit off kilter. This is another one that was banned away, though. We saw it in game 1 ban, or actually, I think that was game 2, in ban phase 2. It's Spark to run this champion. If I don't see a utility Lulu, something in that support role, I will be very sad.
Rav,
Yep.
can we agree?
I think Dalex is not even here, man. He's not even here. He's ruining my predictions once again. I'm cursed. I'm just cursed.
So, the Varus is a very brave pick here. You know, the Volibear has very easy access to an immobile AD carry. You've got the Gragas to maybe play Peel a little bit, but now you're also trying to play into a Kog'Maw. You can't play on hit Varus. You have to go lethality, or if you really feel it, go AP, get a one-shot off. You have to go one of these range-abusing builds, which takes you out of a traditional AD carry. I would love to see this Varus shifted into the mid lane, played AP, give a freebie something with a bit more agency. I really think that's the best way you can play this, because that Varus is never going to match up to this Kog'Maw. And if this game goes past 30 minutes, we're going to see a repeat of game number 1. Excuse me, I have the hiccups.
It's fine. I don't know. Honestly, there are already so many options for countering the Varus. There is a reason he's been falling off. He's not the pick or ban 90% presence ADC nowadays. And this is one of the greatest options. Thing is, even if you go lethality, if there is that extra enchantment on top of the Kog'Maw, any shielder, any healer, that doesn't matter at all. You're just getting poked up. Oh, there's a bandage for your little scratch. You're good to go, little Kog'Maw. Go run. Now, I love the Milio ban. I'm not too happy with... I don't mind the Braum. Zika saw something that I haven't seen yet.
John is open! Into Rel Gragas!
It's a possibility. It's a possibility. Of course, I still want to see... Oh, boy. Okay, maybe...
You have no range.
I'm waiting for it. I want to see
You
it
have
happen.
no
Just
range!
oh, my God.
Yeah, but consider the flashing options.
You flash into the face of a Volibear.
Yeah.
Revan's like, I see no problem with this. Jika's like, think of the children, literally the child on the other side of the rift there.
I've seen some stuff, okay? I'm already traumatized. Nothing
how
else
do
is
you
gonna
kill
hurt
this
me
team?
as much.
How are you killing this team? You have no tank shred. Your Varus can't go on hit.
I mean,
Vayne jungle, screw it. I don't know what else to say.
you
Just
can go on
crazy.
hit if you're not a coward. I'm not saying it's good or that it's gonna work, but you can do it. It's a free country. Summer's Rift, I guess. I don't know what country it is. But it's
Runeterra.
free.
Yeah.
That's not a country, that's a continent.
Alright, well, paired up with the Kog'Maw is going to be the Alistar, a little bit of a dive buddy to follow behind. Not going to be that Jinna, Jika, you were hoping to see, but following up behind that Volibear. Now, Venomcrest. We talked about an R5 position. They have once again handed it over to the side of Kenji, and Kenji's going to opt for this Gnar.
There's so many better
Jika, your
options.
face has gone through all 5 stages of grief. Talk to us right now. What's going on here?
There's so many better options than the Gnar. You have counterpick into Cassante. The Renekton from last game. It's another thing that you could take. It does very well into the Cassante. It gives you a bit more of a bridge because you're looking at scaling throughout your other 2 lanes here. It gives you that opportunity to play through top. The Gnar kind of does the same, but doesn't have the damage to match up. You've got Aatrox as an option. You've got Camille. Camille would be really good here. It gives you backline dive to follow up on this Gragas to try and catch the Kog'Maw out. I don't really like the Gnar. I'm very, very shocked that Lionscreed didn't opt for the Janna. That would just lead to a total draft gap because you can never engage. You have Rel try to go in, you get nadoed. You have Gragas try to go in, you get ulted. They try to go back in again. One of them is going to get slowed. I think, at fear of ruining my predictions here, Lionscreed have completely won this draft, right? And it would take a minor miracle for Venomcrest to pull this game off.
Guys, okay. I just realized I have a little bit more copium here. Give me a moment.
Oh, okay. Yeah, check it. You need all of it.
How much does draft really matter? Okay, let's go into it. League of
You're
Legends.
taking my one thing away from me.
You
League of
say that after
Legends.
we saw the Smolder and Draven rep? Come on! You chose this series to say that?
League of Legends is not played by robots. It is played by people. People with fingers, with mechanics, and reaction times. And on that note, Venomcrest could finger gap their opponents. And they can be just the bigger and better players on the Rift today. Okay, the copium is
really
already
hope that-
wearing off. It was not
Right.
enough.
Everybody that is on broadcast today, all 3 of us and Shibby have said Venomcrest win this, right? We are now sweating because we've seen these drafts and we're like, we need to find any reason.
Oh my gosh. Listen, let's see if the finger gap comes through as Rev predicts, or if we are going to see a silliness occur as Lionscreed are 1 game away from upsetting a lot of freaking predictions. Let's go ahead and go to that desk, because I'm sure Shibby is thinking the same. Shibby, what you got for me? What is going on here? Do we see some absolute glory, or do we see madness here on the Rift?
All right. I'm gonna lay the blueprint. I'm gonna lay the plan out for you. Venomcrest can only fight when Flash is up. That's it. 5 minutes every single time. Sheikah mentioned it, right? Where's the range? How do you reach Spark? How do you even reach QQR? I mean, the saving grace here is that Lionscreed Academy might have a pretty solid dive composition we can call it dive here with this front line, with Cassante, with Volibear, with Alistar, and they might just be a beat too far ahead for the Orianna and for the Kog'Maw to follow up. Although we have seen it time and time again, Kenji has been getting some really good flanks off on champions like the Yone and other champions throughout the season. Bartholdi as well has been looking for some maniac angles. The best thing for Roskilde to do is to play inside Fog of War, play inside bushes when it comes to objective setups. If Venomcrest is there first, Lionscreed will have a very rough time clearing out every single angle. This is on-hit Varus for a freebie. If he wasn't against Smolder in game 1, most likely they win that game because of how far he was ahead. Granted, the Kog'Maw, similar champion, but it's not that egg timer, right? You can still look to carry, still very immobile, right? Even though with the flash goes, there's no like high mobility spells that he can use, no dashes like the Smolder has. So there are opportunities for Bartholdi, for Kenji to get onto this Kog'Maw here. It's not as bad as it seems, guys. It's not as bad as it seems, I promise.
You know how Rev was drinking the COVID? We are huffing it over here, saying that this is not going to be any different. Oh my god. I also would like to point out, Roskilde went for the summon Airy, which to me signals that you're trying to auto-attack trade and get a little extra damage, which is great. I just would like to see ample burst. I would love seeing some of those, you know, Dark Harvest stacks when at level 6 you're trying to go, or not Dark Harvest, that takes a while. I would say like, you know, Electrocute or something, but I also understand you do need that extra added trading pattern. I'm interested to watch this. We are going to have a lot of questions, not only that in the top side. Things have been dancing a little bit too dangerously. Kenji has not had that impact we are hoping to see throughout the entirety of this series and is still yet to really step into the spotlight. Done his job, but not exactly that star player that we are hoping to watch here in this lower bracket final. So very, very curious. Pop, though, on top of a ward. Yep, Roskilde trying to run away. You do stun, but the stun came through against you. You flash away. Eat a massive lightning bolt to the back of the head, and it's a massive HP advantage for QQR. Flash forward, though, on the bot side. Now Ignite goes down. Spark in a dangerous spot. Flashing away from the headbutt. Multiple flashes lost. Now Heathen running for their life. So what a trade factor. Massive dub on HP for VNC. And the bot side mid lane a little bit different as Roskilde had to back. Or should back.
Pop should just cover this dive that they're setting up for Bartholdi, but they still have to back off, right? The HP advantage, like you mentioned. Trading those 2 summoner spells for a freebie. Uh-oh, he might be in a lot of trouble.
Oh, but that's going to be the tower getting a little bit cheeky here. So this dance, we're starting to see something that I love to call a Game 3 differences. Game 3, in certain scenarios, to me, feels like it can go one of 2 ways. Teams either start playing relatively safe, or they start getting over-aggressive in those Game 3 or finals, and this is why this happens. You stepped up a little bit too far, and Heathen just eats your life. These mistakes tend to occur in Game 3s. We see it a lot in that final game. Nerves eat up, and you're trying to do something. This time it results in Spark, the late-game ADC, picking up a double, or 1 kill, at least.
Okay, guys, it's bad. I said it wasn't that bad. It's a little bad. No. I mean, Spark just picking up that kill, right? A champion that's supposed to be not that good in the early laning phase. A champion that's supposed to struggle has picked up a kill for himself. Berserker Greaves should be the rush. I really like that on Kog'Maw, especially with the buffs and kind of how he can auto-attack you down to death here. As Bartholdi, he's going to try to invade onto Pop here, punish the Volibear, and he loses the smite fight, but let's see if he can get a kill.
I mean, Pop a little bit lower, doesn't have the flash either, and it's just death. Very nice pickup as Bartholdi and fast-legged chain CC the Volibear to oblivion.
This is a dive here. Heathen needs to come to cover this, right? Roskilde should have stun up very soon.
I'm gonna try a flash out. It's gonna be safe to say the fadeaway barrel will do a little bit of extra damage on the back end, but Venomcrest. I mean, we want to see some early aggression. We want to see it pretty much all throughout the series, and this is the one they choose to go for. However, it's drawing a lot of ire and a lot of anger out of LCA as well. Heathen about to be fast-legged, and everyone is going to join this mid lane. Roskilde walking away fairly safely.
Yeah, but with that back from Roskilde, they should open up Pop to get these grubs here. The TP came from QQR, but he started trending down towards the bot lane. You should come up and try to help your jungler. Right, you just forced out mid, but instead they're going to give that over to Bartholdi. Kenji has full control of this top lane. Let's see if Bartholdi is going to get punished. Nope.
That was one of the fattest belly slams I've seen, and one of the best from Bartoldi to stay
Whoa!
safe. Now it's going to put Pop in a really bad spot. Very nicely down for the chase. Kenji going ahead and getting that solo. A final boulder to the back of the head. After Pop tried to contest over, we're seeing strengths in both teams across the map.
Yeah, and the good thing about this Varus, a freebie here, shouldn't be under too much dive threat. Yeah, he's got to maybe give up a wave or two. As I say that, though, he might have walked up a little too far. Okay, he then can't get in range for this headbutt pull combo. But that allows Fast-Legged to get back onto other parts of the map, right? There's no dive threat. We know Pop's top lane. We know QQR just TP'd in. A freebie has to give up a couple minions, but realistically, you get 3 grubs for yourself. You get another kill onto Pop. That's a worthwhile trade if you're Venomcrest, especially because those kills that happened earlier on, Spark and Heathen getting 1 each, you want to try and find advantages on other parts of the map, on other lanes specifically.
You don't want to walk into the Fed Kog'Maw or anything like that in the middle of a mid lane team fight and just be like, yo, we can fight this. No, you got to branch out. You got to hedge your bets in other lanes, and I love the fact that you laid that down. It is something that we do need to watch, whereas Venomcrest are going to look to try and kind of win out here because they are on that timer. It was stated on the desk. It was stated here. They need to make their moves, and Skilled in the meantime is hoping to have maybe those extra speed up boots, have a little bit of lucidity in there. Pop, though, at the current moment, playing for that dragon, goes ahead and slaps down the first hit, spotted out on the Scryer's Bloom. Of course, with the rest of the team here, and a tank shredder and a damage shredder, Spark will help secure this dragon.
Yeah, Bartoldi's on the top side here, clearing the red, clearing his raptor, so it should be a relatively free dragon. First time, I think, that Venomcrest this series lose first dragon this whole series. So good from Lionscreed. They've got the shove in the mid. They know relatively where Bartoldi is, and they just use that to their advantage. Fortunately, a freebie and Fast-Legged cannot contest this. The real juice is going to be during these team fights, right? When they're all allowed to set up. We mentioned earlier, if Venomcrest is allowed to get into these bushes, sneak into pockets of vision here, and play that Fog of War, Roskilde can have huge impact, right? If he lands a stun onto Spark, onto QQR, you got to realize Spark doesn't have Cleanse. He's got Flash Ghost. So once that stun lands, that's the go button for Bartoldi, Kenji, so on and so forth, to follow up engage and layer that CC on. It's a classic Lionscreed 2 damage or 2 threat composition coming out from mid and AD carry. This time around, the AD carry has much more the load.
One that we'll watch for as a freeze is occurring in this bot lane. Mid lane. Skilled going ahead and trying to shove their way to glory. CS differentials, not that big or different. In the jungle, we're seeing the larger one, as again, when you're 2 kills up, you can't punish that enemy jungle routes. Bot side Spark is gathering I would say a fairly decent chunk of gold. You are going to lose out because of the freeze against your own waves, so, you know, it's what for. Again, it feels like we're going back to that quiet situation of these early games, like in game number 1. Even kills across the board, and no one wanting to infamously step out of their comfort zone.
Yeah, you mentioned game 3s can go one of 2 ways. Like, teams can get super aggressive, or they get very, very passive. They play not to lose here. And it seems like Lionscreed's kind of banking on Venomcrest to do that a little bit, right? Picking these late game scaling options with the Orianna, with the Kog'Maw. It allows them to kind of take advantage of that timid game 3 play style that a lot of teams will kind of fall back into, right? They don't want to be the ones to make that mistake to cost their team the game. So they'll play extra passive, they'll play extra safe, and eventually Lionscreed might just end up outscaling Venomcrest here. So you want to see VNC set up vision, set up picks, use this Annie, right? Don't just keep her in the mid lane ping-ponging waves back and forth with the Orianna, because eventually Orianna's going to hit a 5-man shockwave, a 4-man shockwave, and that might be the game ender there. That might be the team fight that swings it into Lionscrest's favor.
To be fair, Lionscreed, you can say that, but for Venomcrest, they have the exact same thing, right? If for Skilled lands a 5-man bear stun, that would be a thing of its own. That's going to be a chance as QQR able to flash away. And that's going to be a turnaround. Shockwave lands on 1. Or Skilled trying to run, but you can't run from the Thunder Bear. Pop drops on in with a big, beefy blow. And QQR still alive. Yields another kill for LCA.
Yeah, I kind of feel like they messed up the combo from Roskilde, right?
Yeah.
I thought QQR would be stunned for a little bit longer. Drop the Q plus the bear, but
I don't
Oriana
think
was
the
able to
stun came
flash out.
through.
Yeah, Oriana was able to flash out of the damage, which was the big thing, and then return it with the shockwave. Pop came in, finished the kill here, and I said I wanted to see Roskilde use this Annie and use the Tibbers and the bear. That's not how I envisioned it.
Yeah, we didn't say
Spark?
which way it wanted to go. What we do know is this bot lane dive wants to be utilized while Fast-Legged setting up for it because you knew Heathen was in the mid lane. Spark playing well and far behind will grant a plate over to a freebie and Fast-Legged in time to kind of rotate up as Pulp is able to grab the other 3 grubs. It's not bad. It's an even trade around, but with Dragon up in a minute, VNC are hoping for their own chance to grab a Dragon. It's Cloud. Definitely not one of the best that you would enjoy, but it'll be enough to allow the soul to come about, and then we'll get to see the power.
Look at this vision control, right? Roskilde needs to shove this wave in as we get the replay
Okay,
onto
so we
that
gotta
mid
see
lane
this back.
fight.
One,
Yeah, the
two,
stun
yeah,
just didn't
no
come
stun.
through. Yeah, stun didn't come through.
Oh.
Doesn't lock QQR in place for the extra damage. And you saw he's able to throw that Oriana shockwave right back at VNC's mid laner here. And that just turns the fight around. Very, very well played from Lionscreed, but also a misplay from Venomcrest here. As I said, they're setting up for this dragon. They put all this vision down. I need to see Roskilde in these bushes, right? Prep the Tibbers stun, get to 4, and then force Lionscreed to walk into you, right? Look at all the control they've given up on Venomcrest's side. Lionscreed's deep in the river right now. In Dragon, a freebie's nowhere in sight. What are you going to do? You don't have flash on Annie. How are you going to engage and land these Tibber stuns? They're fighting for vision in their own jungle right now, Orbital.
And I think it's a play of wait for Pop and Heathen to come in, maybe get in the back line. It's not optimal. Granted, we talked about this on the desk. The composition doesn't exactly afford you the opportunity to play that far up. But that's what you have to do. You picked a composition a little bit shorter range. You're going to have to fight into them. You have to be willing to put your life on the line. At the current moment, it is a little bit dark. Bartoldi jumping over the wall. No vision in the side of LCA as it was cleared out. It looks like it's going to be given over to the side of VNC. LCA conceding control over this Drake.
Yeah, Lionscreed couldn't get vision down onto that little river bush there on the top. So they don't know where Roskilde is. Look how he's hiding in vision. I love this, right? Everybody else is going in. They're just going to wait. I don't know if they're going to ward this bush.
And they don't. Just an easy kill, but they only get 1. Let's see how much damage can happen. Spark is still alive on the back end. Free firing. That shred is feeling pretty good. But Spark isn't really farmed up. Main control this time. Venomcrest, don't forget the objective. And they secure the dragon. It ain't soul, but it's enough.
And you saw, that's going to be what Roskilde is going to be doing
every
single time, right? It is an Infernal Soul coming in. I don't even talk about it. No, I don't even want to hear it. Orbital, I've just gotten over game 1. Please let me rest in peace right now for this. Venomcrest, you saw how they navigated that fight, right? They got control of small pockets of vision. They got Roskilde into a spot where he can get the stun down. Not ideal, right? What probably wanted to get QQR or Spark, but you kill Pop there and you stop the dragon immediately, right? Lionscreed cannot contest it anymore. They lost their front line. Still a good kill, but you saw what Spark was able to do, right? Bork, 1 item, not able to shred. If that happens at 3 items, 4 items potentially, he's gonna melt through you guys like butter. So they've got to be more careful. They can't just keep dumping all their CC onto Pop and allowing Spark and QQR to work with the space later on to the game. It's okay now, but 10 more minutes, 15 more minutes, it's going to be a problem.
Oh, man. I'm happy that we're seeing kills. I'm happy that we're seeing those attempts at plays. Of course, right now, Bartoldi is also happy about getting a lot of these global objectives down. That's going to be a Herald. Again, handed over to Venomcrest, which in the last 2 games they have been able to pick up very neatly for themselves. But I will say, in both games, I am hard surprised to see this gold dead even. It was okay in the early stages. We understood it was going to happen. The fact that we are 15 minutes into this game, and we have not seen a major breakaway in terms of gold is very, very surprising and speaks to that quiet nature that we were discussing that may or may not lead into LCA's favor. Call down of Herald very early on to try and break through. QQR coming around the middle to try and divest, but first tower still goes the way of LCA. QQR again not stunned up. Mountain comes down against Pop, and Bartoldi's the one that's going to eat it. TP coming in from Genji, but I think the fight might be done. Shockwave not really going to be there, and everyone lives. You get tower, but you expended a hell of a lot of pressure. This is going to be the turnaround they're going to attempt to because Kenji doesn't have Meganar. But at the end of the day, you expended TP, a flash, and then some on VNC side just to get a mid.
Yeah, Kenji TP'd in with like little to no bar on his mecha. So when he got in, he instantly turned mini and was like, well, I can't really follow up anymore. I think they were expecting Lionscreed to counter engage, right? They were expecting like a full committal. That's why the TP came in, and that's where you'd be able to get that slam Gnar into the wall kind of ultimate. Realistically though, dead even gold. I think the explanation behind that as well is just that both of these teams have very specific conditions on how they want to fight, right? I've hammered into how Venomcrest want to fight. They want to use Vision. They want to use Fog of War to isolate a target or get a big anti-stun. On the side of Lionscreed, they need to position their tanks far up enough so that QQR and Spark have enough space to take these fights. They can't just like willy-nilly run into the Venomcrest, right? Spark has to be in position. QQR has to have the ultimate available, the ball delivery system, and then they have to also reach the backline of Venomcrest. It's not as cut and clear dry as like a dive composition or a protect the Cosmo composition that we might have seen if he then dropped the Lulu instead of the Alistar. It's very, very specific, and if you can't find those conditions, you end up in these stalemates between both teams.
It's the we know what to do on defense. We don't really know exactly what to do on offense, and at that moment, that is a stumping part. It'll be fun come this mid-game. At the current moment, though, Venomcrest are still trying to play a little bit more aggressive. Take a look at the wards, where you're going to rinse and repeat what happened around the dragon about 6 minutes ago. 5 at the current time. 6 once dragon is spawned. And Pop is about to get a run-in with a little bit of PTSD. Realizes people are in the enemy jungle. Heathen now getting chunked out here, and gonna try and get back to base. Shockwave flashed away. A freebie is still alive, and out you go as fast-legged. A little dash over the wall as Bartoldi swings that belly, and you drew a TP in from Bust, and I think that's a pretty big win. Right now, TP's only on the mid laners.
Freebie had to burn Flash there because the Shockwave would have just ended his life. Interesting that they're going to go back to try to take this bot lane tier 1. Dragon's coming up in 15 seconds, though, so they want the ability to go in, and uh-oh!
And it looks like they might have gotten a little piece, but Pop goes out with that Thunderlord bust. Now trying to get the enemy jungler. Bartoldi again is squishy, but a really, really nice explosive cast is able to section out. However, the Q from the ball is going to land. They're still fighting in a 3v4, by the way. Bust is unstoppable, draws him over the wall, brings it right in. Roskilde with a late flash right into Heathen's hands, and it looks like Lionscreed Academy have found the fight. Kenji just now hitting Meganar, only gets a wall up, can barely throw him away. It's a 3-0 for LCA.
And Lionscreed Academy just steamrolled through Venomcrest, right? Venomcrest didn't have the damage, and I want to bring back a point that Jika mentioned on the desk. Lionscreed have such easy access to this backline, right? The Varus flashless, oh yeah, Bust is just gonna ghost, he's gonna all out, and you can't do anything about it, you can't peel away. Venomcrest were half in the fight, half out of the fight. You saw they tried to finish these kills. They tried to use the anti-pick to their advantage. But the Archangel Staff, the Merc Treads, QQR is a lot tankier than he leads on to believe. It's now a mid lane fight.
This is a fight I don't think that they want. Roskilde cycling through, but doesn't really have the stun. Again, you are able to get one in the back, but the damage may not be enough. Take a look on the top side of the map right now. LCA just melt through VNC. Venomcrest are stomped out. The fangs have been negated. The poison is gone as LCA win another decisive fight.
It looked pretty decent in the beginning for Venomcrest, but a freebie is just not allowed to free hit as much, right? He's not allowed to really go in because the threat of Pop, the threat of Buzz jumping on him, right? You saw Heathen flash Q immediately. As we get onto that earlier fight, look what's happening here. right? It's a 3v2. The TP comes in, and a Freebie and Roskilde aren't actually fighting. They're not actually rotating their spells. And by the time they drop the bear, QQR's Archangel Staff goes off. They're super tanky, and you look at Bust. Beautiful ultimate to isolate a Freebie out of the fight. And once a Freebie's dead, you lose your damage. Kenji's nowhere near. Roskilde has already dropped his full spell rotation. Once a Freebie's down, this composition just falls to pieces. Lionscreed have the ability to isolate, kill, and just remove Venomcrest from these team fights so efficiently.
It is just extremely impressive what Lionscreed are doing. It's not the fun way of doing it. No one enjoys going to a game 3, or some people do. Myself, I enjoy it because I get a cast, but I don't think I don't think any player actually enjoys going to a game 3 or game 5 scenario. It's stressful. The fact that Lionscreed are not perturbed by this, and they're saying, yo, we have a composition that yields amazing results if we play it right, they are doing so here. All of the weight we mentioned in game 1 is in Venomcrest's hands. They are building a composition that did not really have amazing win conditions, so it's on them to be able to execute at the current moment. They're not allowed to. So taking stock of where we're at, a 3K lead, one that we did not see earlier because it was tied, almost net zero. LCA are starting to pull ahead. 3K is nothing to snuff at, but we see more of it into Spark's favor, who we know can carry. This Kog'Maw can start to be a scary, scary opponent.
I mean, he's 2 items, right? Bork, Ginsu's. Once he gets that Terminus, I don't care how tanky you are, Venomcrest are going to shred very, very quickly. And I think the other thing, the more minor point for Venomcrest, is that they're running this double AP composition with the Gragas, with the Annie. Merc Tread value is so high, right? QQR, Pop, Bust, Heathen. All 4 of them have Merc Treads. They have MR, they have Tenacity. It's actually so difficult to lock these guys down on top of the shielding, on top of the innate tankiness that all these members have. Even Orianna, you throw the ball on her, she has Archangel Staff now giving a shield equivalent to her mana. Realistically, Roskilde and the rest of the team have to be on point on who they target focus, and it just hasn't been that, right? Roskilde gets a stun, there's no follow-up, a Freebie's getting isolated, he's got to worry about every witch angle, because they understand, on Lionscreed's side, we could just ignore Roskilde damage. We don't have to worry about it. We kill a Freebie, this game's over, right? We win the fight. Kenji has not found, like you mentioned, good opportunities to get those 3-man, 4-man wall stuns. He's been late to primarily every single fight. He had 1 TP in the mid lane, where he TP'd as Meganar, turned into Mini. TP late on that second fight, he gets the shove, but nobody's around to help him out, so he just dies once again. I'm not going to say Kenji's having a bad game. It just feels like these compositions and these champions that he's getting picked for is just not he's not able to get the most value out of it, let's say.
You're basically put into difficult situations, which also leads into this right now. LCA already corralling around this dragon. Know that they got a chance. That's the Magno Sword straight to the back line. Another stun comes through, but again, QQR is out. These stuns are just not landing, and Surface down. Shockwave to fire back. You are able to take down the Kog'Maw. Kenji's able to get to the back line, but Bust is busting out a nasty little move. The chunks are there, but a Freebie cannot hold. The back line is disintegrating as LCA go, yo, VNC Kenji, where ya at? A 4-for-1 as Dragon will fall down to LCA's way. They are on Soul Point.
Bust and Pop just tag teaming the dive duo onto a Freebie. Yeah, Fastleg gets a nice flash Magnet Storm. You land the Chain of Corruption. You kill Spark, but at what cost? QQR is still allowed into the fight. He's relatively scaled up, right? He's got Archangels, Leandros. He's already have components to magic penetration. He hurts. And so if he's allowed to bring back that haymaker punch as we get into the replay, Fastleg, a beautiful Magnet Storm. But what can you do? The stun lands onto QQR. He's able to immediately flash out. Doesn't matter. Spark dies. Watch a Freebie, by the way. Look at what Bust is doing to this team. Look at how much interference he's running on the backline. Bust 1v2s. The carries of Venomcrest, right? Annie and Varus cannot deal with this guy, even in his all-out form. 403, He's a problem, and I don't think Venomcrest have the solution, Orbital.
No, they don't. Instead, they have a mirrored issue. 0-4-3 for a skill day, and we have to call it out. I hate doing this, but this is now twice in a row that we've seen the anti-stuns not be rotated appropriately. This is not even close to multi-stun territory, which you pick the anti for. You don't pick it for single target. The anti's not getting the value that you drastically need it to, and it's starting to become a massive issue. If we want to see a chance, Venomcrest have got to get that anti under control. Raskilde needs to have good cycling on those spells to land that stun. I know that sounds silly, but it desperately needs to happen. We need to see Pop, QQR, Spark all get CC'd up for the rest of the team to follow in. Even behind the likes of Kenji, LCA setting themselves up for prime lane controls. Bot side being shoved in, mid still neutral, top side the only one that's really in a position for Kenji to take over. Still though, the control leads to the fact that Baron is still heavily warded out by LCA, and you're able to feed a lot of CS into Spark prior to this fight.
Yeah, it seems like they want to get Spark onto Wit's End. They're going to forego the Terminus, and just because there's so much magic damage on the side of Venomcrest, I don't mind it. Wit's End is a very good item into this team composition. Gives you the attack speed, the on-hit, MR, and will allow them to kind of start this Baron with impunity right now. Although I get why they're not just kind of ripping it, there is a world where Venomcrest, because Lionscreed is all funneled into the Baron, because they're in such a small spot, that you can land those multi-man stuns. But now they're just going to go for Bartholdi. He's dead.
Yeah, Bartholdi has to flash away, use the belly sim and got blocked. But Kenji this time coming in with a full Gnar bar. Maybe you find something. All 5 members of LCA currently fading towards the top side, which leaves Venomcrest a chance inside of the mid. However, I mean, how much are you actually going to get? Wave's not really there. They still have to challenge against the side, and they're going to try and body block. I'm not sure if this is actually what you want to do. Kenji now in mini Gnar, and Pop wants to go in. Keep in mind a freebie pushing into this mid lane. Of all the times for it to happen,
just trying to get tier 2.
might have found a free tower. That's actually a little bit of extra gold in their back pocket. It's only about half HP. I thought it was going to get all, but freebie does not have a lot of damage in the back pocket.
And they can't even look for a fight, right? Kenji goes into Mininar form, and you just lose all CC follow-up, right? There is a world where if Kenji gets like a rear TP or something flank-worthy, he can do something. But right now, I don't think Venomcrest are in a position to do anything. You're Mininar. Stack up the Rage Bar, do something, whether it's on your Krugs, whether it's on a different wave, and then try to come back into these fights. The thing with that play, though, Venomcrest is able to come in, clear out some of the vision, delay the Baron a little bit more, but in a minute and a half, Orbital, the Dragon's going to come up, and Venomcrest, whether they like it or not, are going to have to fight it. Infernal Soul will surely spell the doom of this Venomcrest run.
If you give Infernal to a Kog'Maw, you...
And Orianna.
Yeah. Volibear, Cassandra, literally 4 out of the 5. Sorry, Heathen, you're not allowed to have fun with that Infernal. It's still powerful, but it's just... I'm scared, Shibby. I am 100% scared of what's happening. But of all the times for it to come up, Raskilde does have Flash. Of all the times to actually have that cycling and a massive 3-man stun, this would be it. This would be the time to kind of negate everything that's happened in the early game.
I mean, taking a peek over, QQR has Flash, Spark has full sums, right? Even if he does get caught out, there is a world where he can flash out and just kind of reposition for these fights. He's been doing a fantastic job on the Kog'Maw, just pumping out damage. Venomcrest, though,
QQR has a potion. I would just like to point out, QQR has a potion. He thinks this is the end of the game. We are 30 minutes in, yes, but it's just QQR is foregone. Any sort of component just said this should be the end of the fight.
Yeah, it allows him to get extra damage onto the towers if there is a world where they completely ace Venomcrest here. We're 30 minutes in. Venomcrest, you have to fight this. I'm sorry. You've got to look for the godlike engage here.
And we're really keeping eyes on Raskilde as well as Kenji. Kenji currently in the Mega Gnar form. You have a little bit of time. Bust on the far side, holding control of Freebie a little bit further away. Dragging down to about 4K. Heathen running interference. Shockwave only lands on one. That's big. And he still only get one catch, but look at the back line again. Bust is holding him off. It buys so much time. LCA play the front to back perfectly of a Heathen with the safety. Your noble sacrifice will not be in vain, as that is Infernal Soul as well as Baron to Lionscreed Academy.
And Spark didn't even have to burn Flash that fight. Ghosted on out and is A-okay here. Bust playing just amazing right now on this Cassante. Running interference, 4-0-4. He was quite literally 1v3 in that backline. There is nothing Venomcrest do. I don't care if you're on hit Varus. I don't care if you have all the peel in the world. You are not tearing through Bust here. He is well ahead of the damage curve. And you get mid lane tier 2. But Bust and QQR are back for revenge. No survivors, Orbital.
This is the angriest TPs I've ever seen. Oh my god, Bust wants all the kills. Oh my god, LCA. They smell the win. They see the finish line. And Venomcrest are none the wiser. With all these busts, I said there was an opportunity. Ruskilde had one more chance to turn it around. Venomcrest had one more chance to turn around. At this point, the doors are shut. Unless LCA willingly open up a door for VNC, I do not see a way for them to come back in this. They are pushing down the remaining towers.
It's rough. Spark still has Flash. You mentioned no summoner spells now on Venomcrest's side. They have to hope that Lionscreed step up out of position here. And we talked about no range. We talked about not being able to reach Lionscreed. Bust just running interference, giving so much space to his carries. I know you want to look at QQR. I know you want to look at Spark and be like, man, they're having amazing games. Bust is the real MVP of Game 3 as the fight breaks out.
Bust is gonna hang on, but QQR says, I'm dominating this. Is gonna be the final fight as you are punted back. Venomcrest forced to fight in their own house, and the house is crumbling. Heathen once again being a heathen to Venomcrest as their hopes are dashed of a rematch in the grand finals. Lionscreed Academy in a phenomenal Game 3 show off that they will overturn their upper bracket loss and push to a grand finals playoff berth.
Lionscreed's new motto, in Bust we trust, baby. In Bust we trust. On this Cassante having a massive performance here. Venomcrest unfortunately lose out the series 2-1 to Lionscreed here. They're gonna go into the grand finals to face off against Paragon. Well played from Lionscreed. Very, very well played from them. Monster performances in game 1 by Spark. Even in game 2, look, let's erase that from our memories, right? Let's put it in the back seat because Bust, QQR, and Spark just had a bounce back of a game 3. I mean, they're on the up and up. They're riding momentum as far as it can take them, and it's now brought them to the grand finals to face off against Paragon.
And I gotta ask you, Shivy, we've had the final game played in almost every single series of Lionscreed Academy in the lower bracket. They have not had a clean series. It is always the final game. I gotta ask you, are we getting a full 5-game series in the grand finals? Are Lionscreed gonna be able to push it that far?
I'm hoping we get a full 5-game series, but Orbital, the last time I was on the desk, I believe I was on the Paragon game. I didn't believe. After that, Orbital, I became what is now known as a Paragooner. I believe in them. I'm making my prediction now. Come back. Don't at me. Clip me later on. The finals are happening this Saturday. I am a Paragooner, baby.
All right. Well, let's go ahead, throw it to a quick break because we'll be right back with the desk to break down Lionscreed game-winning Game 3 as well as how they got there and maybe a little bit of a word from one of the players. Please don't go anywhere. The UKEL 4 Nations broadcast will continue in just a bit.
Yeah. After I get it, I reinvest. After I get it, I reinvest. People wanna talk that talk in reality. You have not seen me in action. You think the come up comes overnight. You ain't behind the scenes. Trust me, these things don't just happen. No shade at Gerald, but G's don't come easy when you tryna eat out producing and rapping. I read that contract you sent me to sign, but excuse me, I can't help myself, I'm just laughing. Hey, you tryna cut out a piece of my pie, and I asked you politely, what's it that you offer me? Yeah, I produce all my own beats, and I have no intention of losing my publisher. Yeah, independent individual, boy, I've been eating off passive residuals. Yeah, let's be professional. Thanks for your time, but I had to decline at that principle. I've been scheming up a plan, hey. I've been saving all I can, hey. You could call me David Ramsey. The way I handle these bands, hey. We ain't messing with the old model. New era, new kid, we full throttle. Just know that the come up is not a fluke. My amigos, they focus, know what to do. After I get it, I reinvest. After I get it, I reinvest. After I get it, I reinvest. Stack and put it back in it. After I get it, I reinvest. After I get it, I reinvest. After I get it, I reinvest. Stack and put it back in it.
Yo, look, I ain't saying that I'm rich, cause if I'm honest, I've never been. But when I look at all these other kids, I feel just a little bit ahead of them. You should know the business is competitive. There's a lot of people that I'm better than. Even veterans ain't got the knowledge I do. I've been reinvesting all I ever spent. Stop pretending like you poppin'. Who been out here making profit? Told my mama that I got this. I wonder if she noticed what my job is. I don't know how I'ma make it, but I know no matter what, I'm finna find a way. All my homies finna eat and I ain't letting no one on my team look at an empty plate. Yeah. Went from a boy to a man, ayy. Every day been making plans, ayy. They don't really understand, ayy. Gotta look out for the family. I won't fall for any scam, yeah. Only worried about the fans, yeah. I won't compromise the brand, yeah. I've been saving up the bands, whoa.
After I get it, I reinvest. After I get it, I reinvest. After I get it, I reinvest. Stack and put it back in it. After I get it, I reinvest. After I get it, I reinvest. After I get it, I reinvest. Stack and put it back in it. Rappers spending money in some really funny ways, man. I promise you ain't really getting paid. Yeah, show a couple bands flexing on the Instagram, and nobody getting fans that way. Yeah, well you really dumb if you spending all your funds on some clothes and your tape need work. Yeah, you ain't gonna stand if you ain't a businessman, man. I promise you the plan ain't gonna work. Yeah, rappers spending money in some really funny ways, man. I promise you ain't really getting paid. Yeah, show a couple bands flexing on the Instagram, and nobody getting fans that way. Yeah, well you really dumb if you spending all your funds on some clothes and your tape need work. Yeah, you ain't gonna stand if you ain't a businessman, man. I promise you the plan ain't gonna work. Yeah.
We are here on the desk after what was a banger of a series. Lionscreed Academy coming out with some heat in games 1 and 3. A little bit of a hiccup in game number 2, but man, Rev, Zika, we were talking about some of these matchups, and this game 3 really kind of brought it to light. Even in draft, we were saying things were going a little bit sideways. As soon as it finished, we were like, Lionscreed, they won out hard, and boy, did they ever. It started into that game. I mean, we got replays pretty dang quickly, and Rev, Zika, walk me through some of these, because you guys were having fun talking about some of these moments.
So, I mean, the first blood,
doesn't look like anything amazing at the moment, but it turns into something really interesting. It's a lot of small skirmishes that build up to a big ending. So they think they find the angle, they try and take the angle. Good flash from Freebie. Spark's been blown. This ghost is a bit weird because you're not really going to catch anybody to kill anybody. Fast forward a couple of minutes and we see an attempt at it again, where we see a Freebie walk up, get caught by Heathen. Everybody tries to come in. Tower aggro does not go onto fast legs. This is again a bit of a nothing burger for now. Go again. And the first blood comes about here, where I believe fast legged is looking for an angle. No, Freebie steps too far forward and just gets blown up. And it shows the respect you have to show to this Cog Moralister lane, because they just completely outrange you. You cannot step forwards in this lane. You get absolutely nailed down to the floor the second you step even an inch too far forwards.
And it felt like that was step number 1, and that step was very small, but it was necessary. You almost springboarded, catapulted yourself forward. Rev, there was another moment a little bit further down the road. I think it was closer to like when the dragons started to be fought over, and that's where we really saw things kind of break away, and we saw this composition for the side of Lionscreed really come together. We were talking about the ranger's advantage, and bam, it was like right in front of our face there.
Yeah, and honestly, there was not enough damage from the side of Venomcrest to punish any face checking, because that was the draft, and it started here. You take it away summoners, Freebie loses their flash over here, loses their ultimate, so you think, okay, that's the play, that's done. But no, Drake is spawning in half a minute's time. We can fast forward a little bit, and Venomcrest needs to play with the space. They need the enemy to just walk into them, so you can then stun them with the Annie, stun them with the Rel. It starts a little bit disconnected, and you don't have the damage to follow up. And when you don't have the damage to follow up, that range advantage kicks in. QQR can just walk in. We were talking in the green room about the Serap's Embrace, but it did give them the space to play because they were chunked, and they can still walk up, still play the game. And throughout the whole fight, nobody doesn't even give a glance to Spark. He's full HP, he's right-clicking forward, presses on the ghost, just make sure to spit all over your body, and it's done. You're winning the Drake, you're winning the fight, and here is the beginning of the end, I feel, for Venomcrest, because this looks like a really spastic movement. It's like when you're at the doctor, he hammers your knee, your leg needs to just jerk in front, because what are you looking for here? You're outmanned, they couldn't have reset until then, you don't have any spell set up with the Annie, you don't have nothing. Yes, you're killing Spark, but at what cost? Because you're losing everyone.
It hurt. I would also like to point out the reason that Spark wasn't in that fight is because Spark was farming mid lane at the beginning of all that. The fact that you could draw so much pressure with just your, I wouldn't say non-existent members, but the non-primary members that we pointed out, and still be able to win that is crazy to me. It culminated in about a 24-minute dragon fight once again, where it felt like things just, the whole thing unraveled. Everything started to fall away. We saw it for what it was, which was Lionscreed seeing that finish line and say, we can win this game. Jika, walk us through this one.
This is kind of the beginning of the end. Or the end, pretty much. It's a good engage from Fast Legs and follow-up from Bartoldi. You find Spark, you catch him on the side, but Bust is totally unchecked. Walks into the back line, finds a freebie, finds Roskilde, is able to just run over them, while you've got Kenji on the backside trying to do something, anything to keep the fight going. It's just not enough. Your Gragas is dead, your Rel is dead, your backline's being run down by a Cassante. The Gnar can only do so much. That is the point where I turned around to Rev and I said, this game is really, really hard for Venomcrest to win at this point, because your good engages are going nowhere. And if you can't start to sync up and find these big magnet storms into Gnars, you aren't winning these fights.
It wasn't even just that. It wasn't even just the Magnet Storm into the Gnar or anything like that. It was literally, you needed the Gnar, Magnet Storm, and the Annie ult, which we just never really saw connect as nicely as they would have liked. And when you pick it Annie, you need that to happen. Now, whether that was because it was Venomcrest not really syncing up, or Lionscreed being able to outplay that draft, understand where those pieces came through, we don't really know, because we never are in the comms. Sometimes, though, we get to speak with one of the players. I believe we had someone on standby ready to chat with us right now, and it is going to be Pop. Pop, you are here with us here today, the jungler for the team. How does it feel to make it through the lower bracket? Three series, 9 games total to make it into the grand finals. How's it feel?
Easy.
Honestly based.
I'm done.
Okay, honestly based. Okay, first of all, congratulations reaching into the grand finals. I was a doubter, I'll admit. And first of all, I want to ask you, in the last interview, you said that you are playing with the best laners in the league and got kind of memed about it. So do you have any answer to the haters right now?
The silence is deafening, I would say.
Okay, strong words. So now that you've reached all the way to the finals, you have gone the distance, what's the next day? Is it still gonna be easy, or is Paragon still a tall task?
It's hard to not smile at that, to be fair, but I would say Paragon should never be in the finals in any scenario of this playoffs, and it's mostly our fault. We should have beaten them in the second round. But yeah, I feel absolutely no qualms about going up against Paragon. Yeah.
Okay.
I can appreciate that.
Yeah.
GK, any questions on your end?
I'd say that's a solid assessment. We'll have to see how that comes. Now, I have to ask, game 2, right, didn't look great from you guys. It was a bit of a rough one. Draven got a bit out of hand. What was the mental reset like between games 2 and games 3? Because you guys played significantly better in that third game. It looked like all the pieces had come back together. It was as if a light switch had flicked on. Is this just kind of like a we get one game a series thing? Or was there just the kind of, it's fine, we lost through draft gap, we can come back in game 3?
Yeah, so we have a deal with our coach where if we're on an elimination game, he has to buy us a round of drinks when we go to Insomnia. So we now have 3 to 4 rounds of drinks queued up. And so that means that every other game we need to lose to make it a 2-1. So Paragon will go to game 5, but the result everybody already knows.
Hey, fair enough. Fair enough.
Yes, I love it. I love it so much. Pop, I love the fact that you're on this test, because now I get to ask you one of the few questions I've ever gotten to ask here. You just proved every single analyst and caster wrong, and one of the smoothest interviews. Any final words you'd like to say to all the doubters out there? Any words that you like to do after making us look silly up here?
Yeah, I mean, the doubt is warranted, if you guys didn't know about our coach deal. But yeah, I think the C in Lionscreed stands for clutch, and that's what we are. And we're going to close out this season, and we're going to represent the UK well at RPS.
All right, Pop, congratulations on a victory that you guys look so well in a lot of those games. Congratulations again on the victory. We'll see you in the grand finals.
Thanks.
With that being said, of course, we are done here. Zika, you got one final thing to say?
I do. And it's bittersweet to have to say, honestly.
Uh-oh.
We were in this position last split. Venomcrest, 1 game away from making it to grand finals, from making it to RPS, and slightly fell short. We see it again this split. It's heartbreaking. But God, does the narrative write itself. RPS representatives in Paragon and Lionscreed will do the UK damn proud. And honestly, I don't think I'd rather have 2 other teams representing us, right? You've got Cabbage Family, who have been around for donkeys, right? They've played together for so long. They're such good friends. And on Paragon's side, you've got Ex Machina, one of the best university teams that we have produced. Period. I think it's fitting that going to the NLC RPS, the UK representatives are 2 teams that have been around for as long as I can remember.
I mean, that's fair. Listen, I have the script here. It's been perfect. It's been awesome. You can't tell because I have it in mine, and I will read it all day long. Because of that, I'm going to read off another script. We have an amazing set and crew here that gave us a fantastic show. Number 1, shout out to all the teams that did amazingly well, and of course, everyone that made this playoffs big, because we are reaching the end of the road right now. So for the UKEL 4 Nations, shout out to Project Gap for allowing us to put on this broadcast. Of course, from myself, Rev, Zika, Shibi on the desk, as well as Lou, Casual Cutie on the back end, and What the Beans, of course, on production. Thank you so much to all you viewers at home, and please have a fantastic night. And remember, keep eyes on the socials to go ahead and check out for when those grand finals will be. We'll see you next time.
I pull up in that Lambo with the 10 on it. Everything on free